Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Aderisnut. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 347, The Deceased 9. Ghost River Domain. A branch of the Black Ghost Palace. Within a nether crossing ship, the captain of the ship in blue Grand Elder, Chajogwai, admires his garden while tilting a skull-shaped cup. Observing the withered flowers and trees lining the garden, carrying the unique charm only found in the nether ghost realm, he chuckles softly. Judging by the ghostly energy of heaven and earth, it seems that friend Beak Rin has found his breakthrough. He speaks to his lieutenant beside him. When he returns, that guy will once again try to persuade us to invade the White Yin domain. How do you think he will convince us this time? The lieutenant, a female ghost dressed in mourning clothes, ponders for a moment before speaking. He will probably explain the dangers posed by the cult established in the White Yin domain, logically detailing how this cult poses a threat to the entire nether ghost realm. He might also mention the benefits of acquiring the void spirit pond of the White Yin domain, while suggesting that attacking the White Yin domain would dent the pride of the underworld ghost palace and Pinglai Island, which consider the domain their inviolable territory. Tusk, it's weak, too weak. Although I listened to him due to the favor received during the heavenly being stage, honestly, such flimsy arguments won't persuade the palace. Perhaps, if he persistently continues to make the same argument for 500 or 600 years, the palace might see his will and dispatch a small force, but indeed that seems likely. Chajogwai takes another sip of his drink and asks, then, in your opinion, what would it take for the palace to grant his request? Perhaps if he hands over all the secret arts of White Vein Gate to the palace, swears to become a slave of the Black Ghost Palace, and expresses his willingness to participate in the experiment. Then it might be possible. The experiment involving the erosion under the gazes of entering nirvana true persons. Tusk, the higher-ups are overly obsessed with pointless endeavors. Where can we find a lunatic willing to be voluntarily corrupted? Even the slaves hesitate to participate despite the promise of liberation. So in essence, it is practically impossible. Indeed, it seems so. Now, how should I deal with this friend who will keep coming to me, whining for the next 500 or 600 years? As Chajogwai tilts his cup again, a loud explosion erupts. Quang! Dust clouds rise from one corner of Chajogwai's garden. Just in time. Clicking his tongue, Chajogwai speaks to Beak Rin, who emerges from the dust cloud exuding menacing ghostly light. Yes, congratulations on recovering your realm, my friend. As you requested before, I've spread the rumor that the Black Ghost Palace will soon designate the Wuji religious order in the White Yin domain as a heretical cult and move to exterminate them. However, as I mentioned before, it's just a superficial rumor. To truly persuade the palace, it will take several hundred years, so there's no need to rush. Let's have a drink together and I will offer everything from the White Vein Gate. And I will become a slave of the Black Ghost Palace. If that's still not enough, I will endure anything, everything. A crimson-red ghost fire blazes in Beak Rin's eyes. In his left hand, he holds a crumpled record book. Please, I beg you, please exterminate that monstrous devilish cult that devoured my comrades. Chajogwai stares blankly at Beak Rin for a moment, then meets eyes with his lieutenant. For now, contact the palace. Emergency. In the basement of the Wuji Religious Hall, my 38 eyes gleam with light as I remain in my Ghost King transformation. A follower Wuji religious order with a cursed doll body runs to me and reports. Currently, from the north of the White Yin domain, the Black Ghost Palace is moving a nether crossing ship with 3 blue Grand Elders and 30 black Grand Elders towards the White Yin domain. See Cult Leader, it's an emergency. We've received news that from the south, the Underworld Ghost Palace is moving 1 Integration Ghost King and 10 4-axis Ghost Kings towards the White Yin domain. Cult Leader, Pinglai Island is advancing from the east with 1 Integration Ghost King and 15 4-axis Ghost Kings towards the White Yin domain. Tab. I tap the armrest of my seat. Which force moved first? The Black Ghost Palace. So the Black Ghost Palace's movement incited the others to act. Yes, but all 3 forces are currently coming with the pretext of exterminating the heretical cult in the White Yin domain. So they plan to wipe us out first, and then have a 3-way battle amongst themselves for the White Yin domain. Ghost fire ignites in my eyes. 5 at the integration stage, 55 at the 4-axis stage. Moreover, the Black Ghost Palace is bringing a nether crossing ship. The Underworld Ghost Palace and Pinglai Island are also expected to bring something equivalent. I smirk. That's sufficient. With this much, it's enough to carry out the grand plan. Do not be afraid, I will protect you all. I rise from my seat. Hong Fan, the time has come, prepare yourself. Yes, master. Hong Fan approaches the Void Spirit Pond and begins connecting the Void Spirit Pond to the Dragon Vein of the White Yin domain, using the attraction force previously prepared. Boom, boom, boom. I pass by the followers and exit the basement of the Wuji Religious Hall. Boom. Upon reaching the front of the Wuji Religious Hall, I use a voice transmission talisman to call the Chief Law Protector, Left and Right Law Protectors, and all the Guardian Ghost Kings. Assemble. Kuarirarung. Jian Myohoon, with 6 shadows trailing behind, descends from the sky amidst flashing red lightning. Next, accompanied with rumbling footsteps, Oh Hyun-Siak approaches in his giant transformation while emanating purple aura. Click, click, click. Kim Yon appears, carried on a palanquin held by numerous cursed dolls. Even Yon Jin, who had been sleeping, comes running in a hurry. Flash, flash. 12 guardian ghost kings, emitting ghostly energy, line up before me. Everyone listen. I shout, my 38 eyes gleaming with light. Kim Yon relays my voice, linking with the formations installed throughout the White Yin domain to spread my words. Currently, 3 of the 4 major forces of the Nether Ghost Realm, Underworld Ghost Palace, Pinglai Island, and Black Ghost Palace, have designated us as public enemies and are coming to exterminate us. I feel the entire White Yin domain tremble at my words. However, I continue undeterred. Heed my words. Kagagagugu. 6 shadows erupt from beneath my feet. Crag crackle. The shadows imbued with black lightning. Those shadows contain my death aura. Kwang. When I stomp my foot, the shadows beneath me spread across the entire White Yin domain. During the day in the Nether Ghost Realm, no one can perceive my death due to the gazes from the sky. However, through the 6 extremes Yin Thunder body, I can indirectly, very subtly, emit my deathly aura. Shaila. The ghostly creatures of the White Yin domain, covered by my shadow, fall silent in an instant. Though they can't directly sense my death, they instinctively feel fear and quiet down. If I revealed more of my death aura, they would go berserk and flee the White Yin domain, but I managed to control it just enough to prevent that. A specter is haunting the Nether Ghost Realm. Flenching. The expressions of Jian Myohoon, Kim Yon, and Oh Hyun-Siak become a bit strange, but I continue speaking without concern. That specter has many names. It is nothing other than what you're feeling right now. First name of the specter is Violent Death and Untimely Demise, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. You have all met violent death, have all met untimely demise, becoming ghostly creatures with a grudge and reaching the Nether Ghost Realm. Still, you have always tried to avoid the attraction force of the Netherworld because you wanted to live proper lives. However, even in the Nether Ghost Realm, it was always difficult to escape the attraction force of death. You feared the day you would be pulled by the attraction force to the Netherworld for judgment. That is why our cult provided you with physical bodies so that you could enjoy stable lives. Second name of the specter is Disease, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. You no longer have physical ailments because you are already dead. However, at the moment of death, you harbored a deeply ingrained grudge, becoming ghosts wandering the 9 heavens. That deeply ingrained grudge is the disease of the heart. I too have harbored such a grudge several times. While I cannot understand your grudges completely, I can understand your pain to some extent. Where does the grudge of you ghosts come from? It comes from the life you have lost. That is why our cult has accommodated you so while limited, you can find a semblance of true life. The third name of the specter is Anxiety, suffering from concern, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. You, or rather us all, cannot help but fear our fate. Unless we are special beings, we must always face our death at the end of our fate. Knowing that death, that terrifying thing which causes us to lose everything, is our final destination, anxiety is born. Therefore, our cult has provided the maximum welfare and benefits to help you forget this anxiety, even if only for a short while. The fourth name of the specter is Poverty, Chinese letter. The fifth name is Weakness, Chinese letter. And the sixth name is Hatred, Chinese letter. The fourth, fifth, and sixth are the same. Our cult has improved your impoverished circumstances, provided strong bodies for the weak, and ensured fair governance to prevent hatred from blooming. Hyo Guak once said to me, that the six extremes yin thunder body is a devilish art that no one has ever mastered. Yes, we have given you as much as we could, but I will speak honestly at this moment. All of that was merely for my own self-satisfaction. All of that was merely a drug to momentarily hide your pain. All of that was merely a deception we provided, a brief and fleeting tease. The six extremes, Chinese letter, are said to be concepts opposite to the five blessings. However, unlike the five blessings, the six extremes have no corresponding axes. The axes of the six extremes are nothing more than imaginary concepts. Just like the concept of ultimate pinnacle, created by the martial enthusiasts of the previous head realm. The six extremes yin thunder body is a delusion, Chinese letter, trying to realize an imaginary concept. That's why no one could ever master it. When I practiced according to the formula of the six extremes yin thunder body, I instinctively knew. Whether it's me or Jian Myohun, this method could never be fully mastered. Therefore, it could never surpass the completed method of the Taiji quaking lightning body. Simply put, it was merely my own arrogance and imagination that I presumptuously judged and arbitrarily provided what I thought might be needed by you, the residents of White Yin Domain. Perhaps I, and the Wuji religious order, have wielded arbitrary violence and irresponsible power under the pretext of eradicating the specter, with six names that haunts the nether ghost realm. There must have been those who were dissatisfied with the Wuji religious order's rule over the White Yin Domain. Some may have felt it was tyranny. I fully accept all of that. Surely our methods were tyranny and oppression to some. Therefore, I will not force you. I repeat, now the Underworld Ghost Palace, Black Ghost Palace and Pinglai Island, the three major forces of the Nether Ghost Realm, have declared the Wuji religious order of White Yin Domain an enemy and are coming to exterminate us. Hear this? We are a heretical order, a devilish cult that has tormented you under the pretext of a possibly non-existent ghost. Therefore, escaping this devilish cult to pursue liberty, now that the three major forces are at our doorstep, is not a sin or betrayal. The puppet bodies we gave you can still be used for a long time with proper maintenance. Those who do not wish to experience another violent death and untimely demise should escape from the White Yin Domain. We will not pursue you, nor will we force you. Once again, escaping from White Yin Domain, ruled by this devilish cult, is not a sin or betrayal. Everyone, protect what is precious to you. The concept of pain, opposite to blessing, Chinese letter, is merely the indication of the absence of blessings. It is not something with substance. That's why the six extremes yin thunder body can never be mastered. But I have been tormented by this unsubstantial something all my life. This thing that torments us despite having no substance is indeed the true specter, the true great ghost. That is why I only wish that this unsubstantial ghost will not harm my precious ones. As when you became ghostly creatures, do not experience the pain of losing something again. Only the mad who wish to arbitrarily chase away the ghost wandering the nether ghost realm with their own methods with this crazy cult leader. Yes, I am merely someone struggling to chase away an unsubstantial ghost. Stay here. I am merely someone out of their mind, haunted by a ghost. I'm merely a foolish deceased. Translator notes, a specter is haunting the nether ghost realm is a reference to a specter is haunting Europe from the Communist Manifesto. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 348, Devilish Cult 1. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 348, Devilish Cult 1. Kagagugugu. Under the dark sky of the Nether Ghost Realm, a gigantic ship moves. The ship is named Nether Crossing Ship, meaning it could even cross the Nether Crossing River of the Netherworld. One of only 49 in the Black Ghost Palace, a replica of a certain immortal treasure. At the bow of that replica of the immortal treasure, a blue grand elder with the cultivation at the integration stage, Cha Jogwai, turns around with a sparkling gaze. Are you ready, Beek Rin? Yes, I'm prepared for everything. TCH, I definitely tried to stop you several times. It was clearly you who decided to undergo the experiment. To defeat a monster, I must become a monster myself. That devilish cult leader is also a fanatic influenced by the erosion of a true person. I will defeat him in the same way. Foolish fellow, fine, do as you wish. More importantly, Yu Hai. Yes, Captain. Cha Jogwai looks at Yu Hai, a maiden ghost dressed in white with a cultivation at the grand perfection 4-axis stage, and asks, "Where are the other two who came for support from our palace?" One is down below, and the other has possessed one of the crew members of the Nether crossing ship. Cha Jogwai looks where Yuhai points. Under the starlight, the shadow of the Nether crossing ship is moving along with the ship. One is moving by merging with the shadow, and the other is what? Possessing a crew member. Why do they live like that? Just come out and have a drink. Tusk. Clicking his tongue, Cha Jogwai stops paying attention to the two blue grand elders. Anyway, I didn't expect the palace to support us with two blue grand elders. As Cha Jogwai clicks his tongue, Wulung. The eyes of Yuhai, standing next to him, turn red. Sururuk. Yuhai's shadow, reflected in the starlight, transforms into that of a demon ghost with a dog's head. In fact, our palace intended to secure the identity of the White Yin domain cult leader by dispatching blue grand elders at an appropriate time. We were planning to abduct the cult leader within the next 10 to 20 years. Upon hearing this, Cha Jogwai clicks his tongue and speaks to Beek Rin. See, Beek Rin, we could have just waited 10 or 20 years. It doesn't matter. What this person mentioned is about abducting the cult leader, not exterminating the cult. My goal is to exterminate the cult and save my comrades. The entity possessing Yuhai chuckles. That's right. Our palace had no interest in anyone other than the cult leader, but since we now have a volunteer, we've generously formed an extermination team as well. Cha Jogwai asks as he takes a drink. What exactly is that cult leader that the palace wants to secure him so badly? Didn't you just hear? He is suspected to be a being corrupted by a true person. Hearing this, Cha Jogwai frowns. Currently, the mission teams dispatched to the Chaos Realm are only collecting remains that have been corrupted. This time, we confirmed that the true person trying to corrode this fellow is friendly to us through several sacrifices. However, we have no idea what kind of existence the true person eroding the devilish cult leader is, so is it right to capture him and risk provoking a true person? Regardless, you know yourself that true persons can never intervene in the middle realms. We don't know why, but there is definitely a reason they are so cautious. Even if a true person get angry, there's nothing they can do. We all know it's more urgent to secure as many beings influenced by true persons as possible and find a way to connect to the Nether Crossing River before the end. HMPH just a vain dream. Well, fine. Arguing about this won't get us anywhere, anyway. Cha Jogwai glares at the entity possessing Yuhai and says, "If you've said everything, get out of my lieutenant's body. Touch my woman again and I'll tear your mouth apart." Hee, you're quite violent. Wulung. After a while, Yuhai's eyes and shadow return to normal, and she rubs her head with a puzzled expression. Did something happen? Nothing special, by the way. Is that the White Yin domain? Cha Jogwai gazes into the distance from the bow, seeing a bright white light. Wulung. A semi-transparent spherical barrier is covering the entire White Yin domain. A formation. No, it's someone's method. It must be that cult leader's. He looks around with interest. Across from Cha Jogwai's gaze. Beyond the sphere covering the White Yin domain, a pitch-black mountain comes into view. The Pinglai Island folks, since we brought the Nether crossing ship, they brought the 5 Elements Mountain. Keek, they sure must have suffered, and the Underworld Ghost Palace. Beyond the 5 Elements Mountain, a gigantic, bizarre monster is crouching. A monster modified from the vestiges of the interdimensional void. Was it called by Chinese letter? They said it was created in collaboration with another dimension, and it's on par with the Nether crossing ship and the 5 Elements Mountain, so they brought it here. Cha Jogwai's eyes gleam. Even though the cult leader has accepted the erosion of a true person, he's at most at the grand perfection 4-axis stage. The real concern is the war with the two factions after the cult is exterminated. Yuhai, activate the Nether crossing ship's cannons, prepare the ghosts used for the cannonballs, and drop the anchor to connect with the dragon vein. Kagagugugu. An overwhelming aura emanating from Cha Jogwai, befitting an integration stage Ghost King, envelops the White Yin domain. Soon, the integration stage Ghost Kings from the Underworld Ghost Palace and Pinglai Island also emit their auras, watching Cha Jogwai and the Nether crossing ship. As the three forces are about to clash. Flash. In an instant, a multicolored light flashes from the center of the White Yin domain. And then, from the decisive weapon prepared by the Underworld Ghost Palace. Boom! Heavenly lightning flashes from Bai's body as it collapses to the ground. Qoo. Bai, writhing in agony, lets out a maddened roar, and panic voices echo from the underworld ghost palace's side. Kagagugugu. Kiuala. Simultaneously, above the sphere covering the white yin domain, a ghost king with 19 heads rises up. Below the ghost king, millions of curse scripts and bizarre flower gardens begin to bloom. Chajogwai clicked his tongue. Is it because it's a monster corrupted by a true person? At that level, it's at least at integration strength. However, it doesn't matter. No matter how strong, there are 5 blue Grand Elder level Ghost Kings, 55 4-axis Ghost Kings, and the Nether Crossing Ship, 5 Elements Mountain, and the momentarily paralyzed Bai. In total, it's equivalent to 15 integration stage cultivators. Kagagugugu. The anchor of the Nether Crossing Ship connects with the dragon vein below, absorbing the nearby ghostly energy. Wu Wang. As the Nether Crossing Ship rotates sideways, its cannons aim at the cult leader. Fire the cannons. Flash. The Nether Crossing Ship's cannons fire. Simultaneously, an attack imbued with the energy of the 5 elements is launched from the 5 elements mountain of Pinglai Island. The integration stage Ghost Kings of Underworld Ghost Palace also unleash their attacks, and an enormous explosion obscures the figure of the devilish cult leader, Seo Yunhyan. Next to Chajogwai, a ghost king enveloped in shadows, and another one possessing a crew member approach to watch the explosion. It's nothing special. See, I told you there was no need for me to come. It's overkill. The Blue Grand Elder, specializing in possession, laughs while inside the crew member. To die without even getting a chance to show my dark soul possession true devil method. It would have been a great opportunity to boast about the strongest devilish method that crosses the plane of the soul. Now then, let's collect the cult leader's body and determine how to handle the aftermath in the white yin domain with the other. Splat. At that moment, something from within the explosion strikes the Blue Grand Elder possessing the crew member, causing him to stumble and collapse. Chajogwai and the Shadow Elder show signs of confusion. In the crew member's shadow, a shadow with a dog's head is impaled by a sword-like object. How the plane of soul. The next moment, boom, the crew member's body explodes, and the Blue Grand Elder, who had been laughing with them until a moment ago, evaporates without a trace. Silence falls over the Nether Crossing Ship. Meanwhile, the Underworld Ghost Palace's side grows noisy. Kagagugugu. Heavenly tribulation boils up within the coughing and swelling Bai, causing it to explode. Boom. Chajogwai, the Shadow Elder, and Beak Rin look at the explosion with trembling eyes. From within, the Ghost King with 19 heads slowly walks out. The Ghost King has no injuries on its body. Pinglai Island's side, not yet grasping the situation, seem poised to attack the cult leader once more with the 5 elements mountain. However, Chajogwai quickly makes his decision. Raise the anchor, retreat. Clank. The anchor is swiftly pulled up into the Nether Crossing Ship. Chajogwai tries to turn the Nether Crossing Ship around to escape. However, the cult leader is one step ahead. Great Desert to Dead Sea. Kagagugugu. A spherical canopy beneath the cult leader begins to shine, unleashing an immense suction force. His suction force devours the attack from the 5 elements mountain entirely. It also begins pulling the fleeing Nether Crossing Ship with overwhelming power. Chajogwai grits his teeth. Damn it, are you saying we have to fight? I, with ghost fire radiating from 38 eyes, survey my surroundings with a diversified view thanks to the increased number of eyes. The Underworld Ghost Palace seems to have some connection with the mystical scaled fish commanding sect, as the monster named Bai looked exactly like what I had seen in the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. But maybe because it was fed with more nourishing things, it was much bigger and imposing. It retained characteristics similar to the vestiges of the interdimensional void. And the vestiges of the interdimensional void have the trait of self-destructing when hit with a strike at the 3rd stage of manifestation. That's no different from heavenly tribulation. The Underworld Ghost Palace is in complete chaos and fear. Moreover, the Ghost King who had mastered a method involving the plane of soul was as expected instantly shattered to death by my all-heaven sword, which fully exists within the plane of soul. Perhaps sensing this significant reduction in power, the Nether Ghost Palace tried to escape while Pinglai Island, with some misplaced confidence, continued their 5 elements infused attacks from the mountain-shaped Dharma treasure. But it's futile. Great Desert to Dead Sea. Kagagugugu. I eat clean the attack from Pinglai Palace, while pulling in the fleeing nether crossing ship with attraction force. Wowung. The energy absorbed through the Great Desert to Dead Sea flows into the prepared formation. The dragon veins of the entire White Yin domain are further stimulated. 1/10 is filled, but it's still not enough. More power is needed to carry out the grand operation. Now come forth. If you dare to step onto our land recklessly, abandon any hope of leaving safely. Do not flee but come confront me. Due to my speech, the number of followers in the Wuji religious order have decreased. About half of the ghostly creatures have left the White Yin domain. However, those who remain with me are burning with a fighting spirit beneath this place. Though our power is halved, our morale has doubled. Make this more enjoyable for me. I shout thunderously at the integration stage ghost kings of the three major factions glaring at me. Kagagugugu. In the distance, a colossal mountain infused with the energy of the 5 elements begins to rise into the sky. The mountain splits into 5 peaks, which then flip upside down. 3 4-axis stage ghost kings are each holding onto a peak of the mountain. Kagagugugu. Simultaneously, a ghost king imbued with the ghostly energy of the 5 elements throughout its body charges at me. Flash, flash, flash. The Black Ghost Palace side fires cannons at me, and an integration stage ghost king formed from shadows hurls a scythe of shadows at me. Weeing. I draw forth the colorless glass sword from one of my mouths. 3,000 colorless glass swords begin to dance at my feet. Transcending cultivation formation, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, open. Pitting. 3,000 swords simultaneously vanish using the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. I wield the all-heavens sword and swing at the 5 elements ghost king charging at me from the left. With the halo of the 3 great ultimates shining behind my head, I focus my mind. The shadow scythe thrown by the shadow ghost king, the 5 elements mountain, the 5 elements ghost king, the nether crossing ship's cannon. There is a point where all these attacks can be cut in one stroke. Draw it. The Heaven Tribe and Earth Tribe gather information in different ways. The Heaven Tribe uses short-term foresight, while the Earth Tribe uses something akin to inference through the flow of heaven and earth spiritual energy. Then, how does the Heart Tribe obtain information? What use are their eyes that read emotions in battle? Frankly speaking, the Heart Tribe's eyes do not offer significant help against such overwhelmingly powerful beings. What good is foreseeing the path of an attack? The overwhelming difference in power means it cannot be blocked, and the integration stage cultivators have attraction force, making it unavoidable. Such things can also be read through the short-term foresight of the Heaven Tribe and inferred through spiritual energy by the Earth Tribe. Thus, for the Heart Tribe and martial artists to fight against these beings, something different is required. Wu-wung. My upper dantian heats up as if it's about to explode. Draw it. It's not foresight of the future. It's not rational inference. It's simply drawing the scene they desire. Then to reach that scene, they pour all their strength into displaying their martial arts. Yes, manifesting Chinese letter, the reality one desires. That is the power the Heart Tribe must develop to contend against the Heaven and Earth Tribes that possess immense strength and consciousness. Boung. Severing mountain swordsmanship. First move. Transcending peaks. A simple horizontal slash. But within the trajectory of that one strike, all attacks are drawn in and cut away. Kagagugu. The 5 elements mountain as it falls is suddenly deflected. The ghost king of Pinglai Island's upper body is severely slashed and forced to retreat. The cannons and scythe from the nether crossing ship are cut apart and scattered. I block the first strike. But it really starts now. Tsutsu. The great desert to Dead Sea that I have activated devours the power of the other forces that have just been repelled. However, the ghost king of Pinglai Island regenerates their body, and the nether crossing ship also gathers its energy once more. Moreover, the ghost kings of the underworld ghost palace are now showing signs of entering the battle. The 8th move of severing mountain swordsmanship, Secluded Valley, is a technique that deflects attacks, while the 9th move, landscape painting, scatters sword marks in all directions. When these 2 moves are combined, they scatter attacks in all directions while deflecting the opponent's attacks. Quagwigwagwagwa. The sword energy of the all-heaven sword dances widely across heaven and earth, scattering the attacks of the ghost kings charging at me. The 13th move, Joy of Mountain and Peaks, scatters sword energy omnidirectionally at the opponent. The 15th move, Layered Mountains, splits sword energy and scatters it like a thorn bush. Walk. The all-heaven sword seems to extend, grinding the charging ghost kings of the underworld ghost palace into nothing in front of me. I combine my moves. I transform them. I apply them. My sword Chinese letter is a storm. It's a wave, and at the same time it's a great mountain. It's a lofty cloud, and also a single blossoming flower. This is the formless sword. At the same time, it is the sword of all heavens that combines all changes and hues. Countless transformations of the all-heaven sword seem to coalesce within my grasp, then explode in an instant. Severing mountain. A message from someone to cut through any great mountain before me and move forward. Quagwagwagwing. Thousands, tens of thousands, millions of sword strikes unfold in an instant and erupt at once. At the same time, one of the peaks of the 5 elements mountain is completely cleaved away. Kagagugugu. In an instant, one peak turns to dust, and the ghost kings of Pinglai Island look at me with bewildered expressions. Why are you like this? Welwing Wuyang. You haven't even faced the sword formation, so why are you standing there stupidly? Is this the end? Entertain me more. Then the transparent transcending cultivation formation activates, scattering storms in all directions. This is insane. What is that monster? Which damned fool reported that maniac as being only in the grand perfection 4-axis stage? Chajogwai, lacking even the energy to use spiritual speech, screams out loud. Kagagugugu. The ship is being torn apart by something transparent. They tried to escape, but the spherical barrier sucks them in with a maddening force. They can't resist either. That something, unseen and unfelt, storms around the monster, literally grinding anyone and anything that approaches. Chajogwai grits his teeth and shouts at the Shadow Ghost King. I will send the signal. Let's deploy our domains. It won't be enough for just the 2 of us to deploy our domains. All the integration stage cultivators here must deploy their domains simultaneously to trap him. Chajogwai screams at the integration stage ghost kings of the underworld ghost palace and Pinglai Island. The integration stage 5 elements ghost king of Pinglai Island, who had initially fought at the forefront against the devilish cult leader, is now desperately trying to flee as far away from him as possible. Everyone, we must join forces. Chajogwai shouts. But the integration stage ghost kings of the underworld ghost palace and Pinglai Island only scream and ignore him. Damn it, I'm saying if we combine our strength we can catch him, you cowards. Then you deploy yours first, then we will follow. Urg. Chajogwai's face turns red with anger, but he grits his teeth and forms a hand seal with the Shadow Ghost King. Open Chinese letter. Kagagugugu. Centered on Chajogwai, his domain unfolds. The domain rapidly expands to encompass the entire White Yin domain, trapping the devilish cult leader. The Shadow Ghost King's domain also overlaps with Chajogwai's, beginning to pressure the devilish cult leader. Kagagugugu. The movements of the devilish cult leader slow down. Only then do the expressions of the ghost kings of Pinglai Island and the underworld ghost palace brighten. Haha, seeing that he can't resist against the domain, he's not really at the integration stage. He's just scum who gained power from the erosion of a true person. Now witness the true power of the integration stage. The domains of the ghost kings from the underworld ghost palace and Pinglai Island overlap further. The 4 integration stage ghost kings prepare their ultimate skills within the combined domains. Chajogwai forms a bow with a ghost head and compresses energy to form an arrow. The Shadow Ghost King creates a giant scythe made of shadow. The Ghost King of the underworld ghost palace forms the shadow of a monstrous beast with 108 heads, and the Ghost King of Pinglai Island forms a ghost bird holding the power of the 5 elements in one hand. Chwaruk. Clang clang. The 55 4-axis stage ghost kings who accompanied them also used their attraction force to suppress the devilish cult master with restrictive spells and curses. Die, you evil devilish cult leader. And then the devilish cult leader, Xiao Yunhaiyan, laughs. White orchid, Chinese letter. Parrot. Around him, countless white flowers begin to bloom amidst the numerous sword strikes. The next moment, the world turns brilliantly bright. \\\\\\asterisk. Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 349, Devilish Cult 2. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. A pure white sky and earth. Inside, Cha Jogwai experiences a horrific feeling, as if even his screams are disintegrating. "In my domain, it's being torn apart." He grits his teeth and contracts his domain. "If my domain is destroyed, it's truly over. I'll die." Kugiguk. He decisively abandons pieces of his domain and retrieves it. The ghostly creatures belonging to the Yin domain, the power of blessing incantations of the vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness, are truly devastating. As expected, it is indeed an old monster eroded by a true person. Despite the agony that feels like his entire body is being cooked, Cha Jogwai contracts his domain to prevent his own dissolution and steps before the nether crossing ship to prevent his subordinates from ascending, passing on. Surrounding himself with such pitch-black death and mastering such brutal devilish arts, yet wielding a vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness method like this, I've never heard of such a thing. It's impossible. He is an incarnation of death with 19 heads. Logically, it's nearly impossible for a being that is practically the manifestation of such devilish arts to concurrently master a method of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness. Therefore, there is only one possible conclusion. This is a power that has been injected. It's a power gained from being corrupted by a great true person. Qaya. Despite his entire body cooking, he stands firm in front of the nether crossing ship. The white flash that seems like it would last forever finally fades. Chia. Cha Jogwai looks around, observing the black smoke rising from his body. Can no longer feel the gaze from above. Is it night now? But it's strange. Even though it's night, no. Even though it's the nether ghost realm. Everything around is so bright. A blue sky. Most ghostly creatures do not originate from the nether ghost realm. Most of them come to the nether ghost realm after wandering the 9 heavens upon death from the lower realms. As such, they remember what a blue sky looks like. Cha Jogwai stares stupidly at the blue sky. The surroundings are dyed blue from the pure white light emanating from the sky. And the surroundings have become a desert. I see. Cha Jogwai collapses to the ground as he understands the situation. Because of the devilish cult leader's power, the vicinity of the white yin domain turned into a desert. The eerie vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness that he used caused the sky to brighten and turn blue. Thud. He looks behind him. The magnificent ship that had been floating in the sky. The nether crossing ship is now buried in the sand, without emitting any more ghostly energy. Focusing the power on the shield must have drained the energy source in an instant. At that moment, Cha Jogwai realizes there is a large shadow in front of him. No, it isn't a shadow. It's a pit. A blue sky. An endlessly sprawling desert. At its center, an indescribably huge pit has formed. Cha Jogwai trembles. That pit was where the white yin domain had been moments ago. The devilish cult leader had covered the area with a spherical barrier using his method. Cha Jogwai looks at the sky with trembling eyes. The sky has turned blue because of the light emitted from above. Then what is the source of the light? Yes, the light source is the white yin domain. The white yin domain is emitting light of blessings, floating in the sky and dyeing it blue. Activating formation, connection to the void spirit pond complete. Condensing dragon vein complete, floating formation operating normally. Formation charge is 120% complete, ready to cast at any time. Wowang. I face Hong Fan, who is fiddling with the attraction force of the void spirit pond. Next to him is Kim Yon, who commands the formation and oversees the formation masters gathered from all over the Wuji religious order. As I sit on the cult leader's throne, I manipulate attraction force while beginning to speak. Hear my words, remaining followers. Wu-Weng. Thank you for joining this mad cult leader's goal. From now on, our Wuji religious order will embark on a long journey with the white yin domain. This entire area you live in will become a sky island, drifting far and wide like the place I once lived, spreading the name and teachings of the Wuji religious order across the world. at the center of the White Yin domain, the headquarters of the Wuji religious order. At the Wuji religious hall, the center of the Wuji religious order. Sitting in the basement of the religious hall, I survey the entire White Yin domain with my vast consciousness. The formations set up over the years move the dragon vein of the White Yin domain, lifting it into the sky. Just like the sky island of the human race's territory. And like Ascension Path, the Ascension Gate of Ascension Path. I conceived this plan inspired by it. The Ascension Gate created by Yang Sujin is influenced by the spiritual energy of Ascension Path. It is intertwined with Ascension Path itself through attraction force. Similarly, I connected the entire White Yin domain to the Void Spirit Pond using attraction force and the Dragon Vein. Now, this land will become the sacred ground of the Wuji religious order. This White Yin domain, which will be reborn as a new land, needs a new name. From now on, this land will be known as the Sky Island, Twilight Domain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Kagagugu. I on the seat of the Wuji religious hall. At the center of all formations, I reach into the void. Kagaguguk. Attraction force moves. The floating formation, lifting the entire domain, is merely using the power of the dragon vein. The power created by absorbing the attacks of the integration stage grand cultivators with the Great Desert to Dead Sea has yet to be used. Then how exactly should that power be used? This is now the beginning. Pajik. Next to me, Jian Myohoon folds his arms with an amused expression as red lightning crackles. Are we leaving now? Yeah, let's go rescue our comrades. It's time to rescue the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Activate. Kagagugu. Cha Jogwai's expression changes. This is crazy. That insane cult leader, just what is he trying to do? He, who has suffered a fatal injury with his domain torn apart, can do nothing even if the devilish cult leader is planning something. It's when he looks up at the White Yin domain, floating in the sky with a pale face. Kigigigig. A chilling sound echoes, and he sees the space tearing apart. And from inside it emerges. Quajijijik. It's a giant, spewing red and black lightning from its entire body. The giant, with 6 arms and 6 shadows on its back, tears through the space and locks eyes Cha Jogwai. Wawets, who are you? He has a startled expression, but the giant of red lightning ignores Cha Jogwai and focuses its gaze on someone behind him. I missed you that time. Haha, I'll make you share the same fate as your friends. Kagagugu. The giant extends its hand towards the nether crossing ship behind Cha Jogwai. Cha Jogwai realizes the giant's intention. Damn it, it's targeting Beak Rin. Beak Rin, run away. Before his voice can finish echoing, a pure white light bursts forth from the nether crossing ship, forming a massive white skeleton. Even though it's frustrating, I have to escape again, white bone shedding. You think I'll let you go again? Quajijijik. In the next moment, the 6-armed giant, the 6 Extremes Ghost King Jian Myohoon, transforms into lightning in an instant. Quajijijik. Before the gravely injured and immobile Cha Jogwai can do anything, Jian Myohoon transforms into a red lightning that covers heaven and earth. He becomes a giant net. Red lightning heavenly tribulation, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Indra's net, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Quajijijik. The net, made of red lightning, spreads out as if covering the heavens. The nascent souls of Beak Rin, shattered into thousands of pieces, let out screams akin to wails. 6 Extremes Ghost King, Qa. Cha Jogwai, lifting his critically injured body, tries to shake Jian Myohoon's net with his faint attraction force. You bastard, devilish cult scum, release my friend. HMPH, you're annoying. Quajijijik. Qag. Cha Jogwai is ultimately struck by the red lightning and flung far away. At that moment, Cug, damn it, let me go. Huog, Captain, please save us. In Cha Jogwai's eyes, he sees several ghostly creatures caught in the net of the 6 Extremes Ghost King. As Jian Myohoon tries to capture the Beak Rin, who split into thousands of pieces and is attempting to flee in all directions, his net inadvertently catches other ghostly creatures as well. Among those caught in Jian Myohoon's net are Cha Jogwai's lieutenant, Yu Hai, and several other crew members. Cha Jogwai shouts with fury in his eyes. You bastard, you vile devilish cult scum, release my comrades immediately. Apologies, as we will be leaving soon I have no leisure in controlling my strength. I'll drop them off at a suitable place, so do not worry. Kwajijijik. Jian Myohun pulls the net towards the spatial rift he has emerged from. The Sky Island emits a strange wave and begins to slowly move forward. Yuhai Cha Jogwai's lieutenant grits her teeth and creates a small gap in Jian Myohun's net. Kwajijijik. Yuhai escaped quickly. Cha Jogwai shouts, but Yuhai throws the other crew members out first. The net is gradually being pulled into the spatial rift, along with Jian Myohun. Yuhai. Cha Jogwai, drenched in blessings and lightning, forcefully drags his trembling body into the air. At the last moment, Yuhai manages to free the last crew member from Jian Myohun's net. And finally, Jian Myohun, along with Yuhai and the Beak Rin divided into thousands of pieces, is pulled into the spatial rift. Yuhai looks at Cha Jogwai and smiles. Captain, it was an honor to serve you. Kai Kai Chiyat. And Jian Myohun closes the spatial rift. Cha Jogwai flies madly towards the Sky Island that is gradually moving, emitting light from the sky. Even though the Sky Island radiates pure white blessings, he does not care. Cha Jogwai's body is burning. Yuhai no. Well, but the Sky Island is gradually accelerating. What once moved at a snail's pace seems to accelerate tenfold with each breath. Weiyang. Pajijijijik. As Cha Jogwai finally reaches out towards the veil of light emanating from the Sky Island. Flash. The Sky Island emits a blinding light and disappears in an instant. Cha Jogwai can only stare blankly at the gradually darkening void. He felt the space folding. Yes, it's the ground shrinking technique. However, it isn't a simple ground shrinking technique. It's an incredibly immense distance that even cultivators at the integration stage can't cover in one go. A ground shrinking technique that jumps over hundreds of thousands of li in a single move. Cha Jogwai trembles with a vacant expression. Yuhai Beak Rin. His lieutenant and lover captured by the devilish cult. And his old friend Beak Rin. Hualia. Under the sky of the nether ghost realm, which is returning to its original state, Cha Jogwai screams madly. Weiyang. I can feel it. That this entire twilight domain is leaping through vast spacetime. Rather than the ground shrinking technique, it feels more like spatial teleportation. Kagagugu. I indirectly feel the immense pressure of spacetime and laugh. Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation. It's a formation developed by Kim Yon, who was taught about formations by Yon Wei, Hong Fan and myself, given knowledge on the Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation that explodes space using the Void Spirit Pond. The Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation fundamentally explodes by distorting space. And the ground shrinking technique of the 4-axis stage cultivators unfolds by temporarily compressing and folding space to move. Hong Fan came up with the idea of combining the two. The Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation is the crystallization of human vice. After deploying this embodiment of vice, I assimilate it with my curses. Then, using the White Orchid Blessing incantation, I reverse the vice along with the curse. Doing so transforms the Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation from a mere formation for destruction into one with a different purpose. The reversed Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation by Hong Fan became a formation meant for the ground shrinking technique. By absorbing power when fighting the integration stage Ghost Kings with the Great Desert to Dead Sea, and injecting it into the vice-embodied Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation, the formation charges up. Then, by assimilating the Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation with my curses and reversing it, it transforms into the Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation. In this way, the immense power of the Realm Annihilation Heavenly Void Formation instantly converts to the ground shrinking technique, allowing us to travel distances that are normally impossible. Flash. Kagagugu. We finally reach the first destination of the long and short Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation. 6 more steps to go. The Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation is designed to perform the ground shrinking technique 7 times in total. It's impossible to traverse such immense distances all at once, so after each step, we need to create a gap to cool down the formation's overload. First destination reached. We have moved 200,000 li from the original position in the White Yin domain. Excellent. When is the next formation activation? In 1 day. Good. We will hover at the first destination for a day to let the formation's overload cool down. I look around the entire Twilight domain. The formations laid out everywhere, and the countless followers of the Twilight domain who remain. The followers are connected to the dragon vein of the Twilight domain to support the formation. Excellent. I smile, satisfied with the sight. Those who wanted to leave are gone, and those who remain became even more loyal followers of the order. Just as I am feeling pleased. Seo Yun Hyan, no, cult leader, I have captured the one who got away last time. Jian Myohoon approaches with a satisfied expression, holding a white-boned spirit creature in one hand. Ho ho, I see, so you are Beek Rin. I've heard much about you from Wei Shihan and Iamwa. I laugh heartily as I speak. Once we reach our final destination, I will let you explore our cult and grant you treatment and grace. Beek Rin seems to shudder, but speaks in a defeated voice. Do as you please, devilish cult leader. Haha, send him to Wei Shihan and Iamwa. The guardian ghost king couple will treat him well. Jian Myohoon nods. Then scratching his head, he speaks. Well, actually, the problem is, aside from the original target of the guardian ghost king's friend, I accidentally captured another one as well. When Jian Myohoon gestures, a maiden ghost in pure white mourning clothes, tightly bound by lightning ropes, is dragged in front of the cult leader's seat. I accidentally caught one of the 4-axis cultivators aboard the Nether crossing ship. What should we do with this one? I gaze at the ghost in mourning clothes with a gleam in my eyes. The ghost glares at me, clenching her lips. Kug, kill me, you devilish cult leader. Translator notes, Guang Iam Aka, Chinese letter, translated as twilight means sunlight and shade, metaphorically referring to the passing of time as day becomes night. It's part of the idiom, Chinese letter, meaning day and night passes like an arrow or time flies like an arrow. / asterisk. Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 350, Devilish Cult 3. See $HTML null class name, / class name /3A0388. Lang, N, suppress hydration warning, true children, head null children, $L10 null ga / tracking /ID, G3NN66 WSFQK, $L11 null intent, capture, children, false, $L12 null user data, role, guest, children, body. This page could not be found. $div null style, $18 children, $div null children, $style null dangerously set inner HTML, / HTML. Body color, #000 background, #FFF margin 0 next error H1 border right, 1px solid RGBA 000, 3 at media prefers color scheme. Dark body color, #FFF background, #000 next error H1 border right, 1px solid RGBA 255 3, $H1 null class name, next error H1 style, $19 children. $404 div null style, $1A children, H2 null style, $1B children. This page could not be found. Not found styles, styles null, $div null class name, BG background, children, $div null class name, flex item center, flex call justify center, px5 pi 4 gap 4, children, img null src / icon, png, null. / asterisk. Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 351, Devilish Cult 4. Translator, translating novice. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Crackling. Jin Guaishi, who has been relentlessly striking the heavenly tribulation barrier, grits his teeth. Cug damn it. By now, his body is in a state where even moving is difficult due to the lightning shot by the 6 Extremes Ghost King, Jian Myohoon. Make matters worse, the massive sky island seems to be stirring again. Weighing, the light of blessings brilliantly bursts forth from the sky island and begins to advance forward. Jian Myohoon hides his body inside the heavenly tribulation barrier and laughs. Haha, well then, farewell for now, we shall be on our way. Weighing, the sky island begins accelerating. But Jin Guaishen, despite being battered and vomiting blood, sneers. It seems like a method that moves a certain distance per day. Every place in a 200,000 li radius of here is within the reach of the Black Ghost Palace. All the integration stage Ghost Kings stationed at our branches will be contacted. Do you think you can keep running forever? How long do you think you can maintain that heavenly tribulation barrier? However, Jian Myohun merely enters deeper within the barrier with a nonchalant expression. Indeed, moving only 200,000 li at a time can be a bit risky. Kwajijijik. He glances at O Hyun-seok, who is overcoming the heavenly tribulation. Hyun-seok Hyung-nim will soon be done with his tribulation, so the heavenly tribulation barrier can't last forever either way. It doesn't matter. Weighing. The Sky Island accelerates tenfold as it moves forward. As it accelerates more and more, at some point it uses the ground shrinking technique to cover hundreds of thousands of li. This is the Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation. And this Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation has one particular feature. Flash. No matter which direction you flee, you will never escape from the grasp of our Black Ghost Palace. Every time the ground shrinking formation is used, up to 7 times, the spatial distortion that it creates intensifies, and the distance of the space folded doubles like the tenfold accelerating Sky Island. Earlier it covered 200,000 li, so now it will be 400,000 li. Jian Myohun inwardly clicks his tongue. This world really has an overwhelming sense of scale. Quagwagwagwa. The Twilight Domain activates the Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation again towards the second destination. Flash. Second destination arrived. Well done, everyone. After commending the formation masters, I extend my consciousness to survey the surroundings of the Twilight Domain. The first leap covered 200,000 li. The next was 400,000 li. A total of 600,000 li, not bad. The Realm Annihilation Ground Shrinking Formation doubles the distance with each movement and can leap 7 times in total. Starting with 200,000 li, the total possible distance is 25 million li. The number is dizzying, but it's nonetheless possible. This is the power of human malice when converted into the ability to move. It's an insane distance. Though 400,000 li is not a long distance for those at the integration stage, it will become increasingly difficult to follow as the distance doubles over the next days. Kwajijijik. Meanwhile, the heavenly tribulation falling from the sky gradually thins and finally disappears. At the spot where O Hyun-seok was standing, there appears a giant of starlight with 8 pairs of wings. Kagagugugu. The Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method that O Hyun-seok reached great completion in is somewhat different from the one mastered by me and Azure Tiger Saint. While starlight sparkles within my and the Azure Tiger Saint's bodies, mysterious purple clouds billow forth along with the starlight in O Hyun-seok's body, U0026 NBSB. This seems to be a part of his unique abilities. Well, good, in any case with this. All 4 law protectors of the Wuji religious order have attained at least the 4-axis stage in combat power. Jian Myohun, Hong Fan, and O Hyun-seok have all reached the 4-axis stage, and the only one who hasn't, Kim Yeon, is practically the second in command of the puppets that form the backbone of the Wuji religious order. Since she can mobilize the entire Wuji religious order at any time, her own cultivation level is irrelevant. In addition to that, it's a bit surprising to change your decision so quickly. Yu Hai, standing before my seat, blushes slightly. Well, I honestly thought you were undoubtedly a devilish cult, but looking around, I see that you have good welfare and are a religious group that seeks considerable peace. Haha, that's why you shouldn't judge a ghost by its appearance. Isn't the death within the cult leader showing on the outside? I have no words and can only smack my lips. Well, anyway, please take care of the relationship between the Black Ghost Palace and this seat. I can only relay the cult leader's words to the main palace. The decision is up to them. Even if I speak well of the Wuji religious order, an extermination order might still be issued. Well, I understand. That can't be helped. Yu Hai, who had initially been terrified of me, looked around the Wuji religious order once, meeting Beek Rin, Wei Shihan, and Hua again. Only then did she clear her misunderstandings about us. Of course, she still flinches every time she sees me because of my death, but that's a natural reaction, so I can't say anything about it. Moved by my sincere persuasion, Yuhai eventually promises to convey our intentions to the Black Ghost Palace in the future. By the way, wouldn't you like to receive the procedure? You'll really like it. No, thank you. If I undergo the procedure, I would have to modify my current ghost body, wouldn't I? That's right. This ghost body was created by my superior, Cha Jogwai, so there's no need for modification. Well, do as you wish. I have no intention of forcing someone who doesn't want it. She mentions Cha Jogwai, and then suddenly seems to remember something. By the way, could you at least give me a transmission talisman to contact Cha Jogwai-nim? I need to inform him not to worry as I am truly doing well. But Hong Fan shakes his head. It seems you want to use the transmission talisman, but it will be difficult. Over the next few days, we will be leaping over hundreds of thousands, even millions of li. This will distort the space and the heaven and earth spiritual energy, making it very unlikely for the message to be properly sent. Is it really that difficult? If I send about 100 transmission talismans, wouldn't at least one of them reach? It's not a matter of probability, but the fact that the heaven and earth spiritual energy will distort, causing the content of the transmission talisman to alter during the transmission. Yuhai ponders for a moment before speaking. I'll take the risk. How much would the message distort anyway? It's better to let Cha Jogwai-nim know I am safe as he will be worried. Well, if you insist. Hong Fan reluctantly takes out a transmission talisman from his storage scroll and hands it to her. Thank you, Law Protector. No need. Then I'll go to my room and send the message, Cult Leader. Sure, and don't worry. I won't eavesdrop on the conversation between lovers. Yuhai blushes slightly at my words and heads to her designated accommodation. Ah, youth. I chuckle as I watch her retreating figure. Yuhai returns to her room and unfolds the transmission talisman she received from Hong Fan. Cha Jogwai-nim, are you doing well? This is Yuhai. I'm currently at the headquarters of the Wuji religious order. I am sending this message to reassure you not to worry too much. She clears her throat and records her voice in the talisman. Then she begins to convey the situation here. I thought it would be like hell, but unexpectedly, the cult leader is a benevolent ghost who understands righteousness. Starting with the cult leader, the Wuji ghost King Seo Yunhyan, she explains the purpose of the Wuji religious order, U0026NBSB. Furthermore, their goal is to aspire for a peaceful nether ghost realm. It's truly a grand dream. While I don't know their ultimate aim as I'm an outsider, they say they'll let me go eventually. There's no need to come looking for me. I'll return to the Black Ghost Palace myself. Worrying that her superior and lover, Cha Jogwai, might come after her recklessly, Yuhai makes a request. And it seems it would be better if the Black Ghost Palace doesn't further antagonize the Wuji religious order. I'll explain more in detail when I return. She speaks with consideration for the strained relationship between the Black Ghost Palace and the Wuji religious order. And your friend named Beek Rin seems to have calmed down after witnessing the true love between the guardian ghost king couple, Wei Shihan and Iamwa. Although he appears a bit down, his eyes no longer burn with rage like before. Perhaps we have misunderstood this order too much. Then there is the direct cause of Cha Jogwai's involvement in this battle. She conveys the situation regarding his friend Beek Rin. I think I won't easily forget what I've seen here. Yuhai reflects on her time in the Wuji religious order. At first it was frightening, but the cult leader turned out to be unexpectedly upright and kind. And the peaceful and leisurely beings of the Twilight Domain were filled with happiness. Yuhai feels she might never easily forget the peaceful scenes of the Twilight Domain. And also, I left a message as if it were my last words before being captured, but, it's a bit embarrassing. Although it was good serving you all this time, please forget my tone as if leaving a last will. I'd appreciate it if you could bury it forever in your memory. She remembers leaving those last words with a wistful look in her eyes to Cha Jogwai just before being dragged away by Jian Myung-hoon, making her face turn red. She feels like jumping into bed and kicking the blankets in embarrassment. Well, I think this is enough to let you know I'm safe. I'm truly safe. It's not that I'm brainwashed into saying good things about this place. And Wovung. She looks out the window at the trembling Twilight Domain. Didn't they say we will depart again soon? If so, it's about time to send the message. They say we will be departing soon. I'll end it here. I hope the contents of this talisman don't get too distorted. Then goodbye, I'll be back soon. Yuhai steps outside the Wuji religious order and infuses her ghost path spirit power into the transmission talisman. Hong Fan, approaching Yuhai, asks again with a slightly worried look. I'm repeating this again, but because the spatial waves haven't subsided yet, the contents of the message might be distorted upon arrival. Some parts might be missing or mixed with static noise. It's fine. My superior will understand everything regardless of how it's conveyed, so he'll understand even if it's somewhat distortion. If you say so. Pay it. Soon after, the transmission talisman in Yuhai's hand turns into a ray of light and flies somewhere. At the place where the White Yin domain used to be. There, a nether crossing ship is swiftly flying somewhere. In the captain's cabin of the nether crossing ship, the sailors gather around, encouraging Cha Jogwai, who looks as if he lost his soul. Don't worry, Captain, the lieutenant will surely be safe. With her personality, she might even be scolding those devilish cult bastards and giving them a lesson. Besides, those guys are fleeing right now. How could they have the leisure to do anything to the lieutenant? If we catch the devilish cult quickly, the lieutenant will safely return. Cha Jogwai faintly smiles at the sailors' encouragement. Yes, thank you everyone. I've shown you a disgraceful side as your captain. At that moment, Parrot, a clear light enters Cha Jogwai's captain's room. That's a transmission talisman. Cha Jogwai flinches in surprise and reaches out to the talisman. Then a gentle voice begins to emanate from it. Cha Jogwai-nim. It's Yuhai's voice. Cha Jogwai's eyes widen, and the sailors of the nether crossing ship fall silent. Kaijik kaijajik. The static is quite loud, but Cha Jogwai swallows and trembles as he speaks. Yuhai, are you all right? Please answer. Kaijik kaijajik. Despite the static, Yuhai's voice manages to come through the transmission talisman to Cha Jogwai. Kaijajik, here, Haijajik, worry hell, Haijajik. Yuhai. Leader, Haijajik, truly grand, do love, won't forget. Forever, Haijajik, brainwash soon, goodbye, Haijajik. Kaijik kaijajik. With that, the transmission talisman goes silent. And in the captain's room of the 30th nether crossing ship, a tremendous wave of ghostly energy begins to surge. Those devilish cult bastards. Kagagugugu. I'll kill them all. With tears of blood streaming from his eyes, Cha Jogwai grits his teeth. No matter what it takes. 7 days pass. Kagagugugu. Finally, the Wuji religious order and the Twilight domain covers the insane distance of 25 million li, reaching the northern end of the nether ghost realm. They approach the boundary between the stable realm and the chaos realm. It's almost time. I sit in the cult leader's seat, smiling. Jian Myohun to my right nods. Yes, it's almost time. Soon, we will be able to rescue the remaining disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Kagagugugu. The Twilight domain moves through the sky. The realm annihilation ground shrinking formation can no longer be used, but simple movement is still possible using the Twilight domain's dragon vein. After a while, we arrive at the area where the remains of the one who went berserk under the influence of an entering nirvana true person are located. Swoosh. I fly above the Wuji religious order, taking a deep breath at the distant sight. Is that the end of one who dies under the corruption of a true person? // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 352, Devilish Cult 5. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. I gaze at the desolate land, far in the distance from above the Twilight domain. This is the starting point of the Chaos Realm, where the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect have entered. An endlessly sprawling, lifeless desert. Normally, such barren lands are common in the Nether Ghost Realm. That's because, while it's difficult for life to flourish, it's a good place for certain types of ghostly creatures to reside. However, I realize that this desert is fundamentally different from such places. Even ghostly creatures aren't visible. It's too desolate. In the Nether Ghost Realm, ghostly creatures are typically everywhere. There are intelligent ghostly creatures, but also numerous mindless specters. Particularly, Those mindless specters can be found in various shapes and forms all over the nether ghost realm. But here there are none. Not even those common specters are visible. What I see is an endlessly sprawling, desolate land. And gatuk gatuk gatuk. In the middle of the desolate land, someone's skull lies alone. Looking at that skull, I realize it's the remains of a cultivator eroded by a true person. Buang, Quang. I quickly move my body and land in front of the skull. Upon closer inspection, this is not a simple skull. Crag, crag, crag. This skull, which keeps moving its mouth as if it's alive, has a rather creepy appearance. However, sensing the true nature of this skull, I realize that its state is far more terrifying than it appears. Quagag. I grab the skull and pull it out from the ground. Quagagak. As I pull further, a spine-like body emerges from below the desolate land. After pulling a certain length, hundreds of grotesque fiber-like things begin to sprout from the spine. Hyphy, Chinese letter, perhaps. Though I roughly confirmed it in my conscious domain before landing, it's still disgusting. The cultivator eroded by the true person must have been an ordinary ghostly creature. But over time, its body has gradually transformed into these mushroom-like hyphae, taking root beneath this land. Wuang. I observe below the land with my consciousness. An enormous number of hyphae is wriggling beneath the land. There are so many hyphae that they cannot be counted, even in the thousands or millions. The further north, the more clusters of hyphae there are. As I perceive the hyphae eroding beneath the land, I look into the distance. The remains of the eroded one must have spread their remains from all the way over there to this place, sprouting these hyphae. I stare at the skull, still clattering despite being pulled from the ground. Disappointingly, the skull shows no reaction even as it sees my death, moving its mouth monotonously. Is it because it's already eroded? I try stimulating it with ghostly energy, attraction force, and spiritual energy. But the skull mushroom ignores my efforts, continuing to click its teeth and wriggle in my hand. Then it happens. Wriggle, wriggle. The skull mushroom begins extending hyphae onto my hand. The hyphae burrows into my hand, spreading roots inward. Remarkable, even with the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method activated, it easily penetrated this solid flesh. I marvel for a moment before trying to expel the hyphae eroding my arm. However, none of the techniques I have learned can repel the fibers. Tusk, should I just cut it off? It's when I click my tongue inwardly. Snap. The hyphae reacts to the power of the last method I try using. Ho. It's the mist of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Additionally, the hyphae responds to the power of the All-Heaven's Sword. Perhaps because the All-Heaven's Sword contains the energy of heavenly tribulation, the hyphae withers upon contact and retreats from my hand. Wuang. Combining the power of the All-Heaven's Sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections, I quickly expel the hyphae from my hand and shatter the skull mushroom. Pesach. The skull mushroom, touched by the All-Heaven's Sword, crumbles into ashes and scatters beneath my hand. Kwajijijik. Jian Myohun flies to my side and asks, "Did you find out anything about this land?" "Yes." I nod and tell him. These hyphae are weak to heavenly tribulation. However, they are not simply weak to any divine lightning. The black lightning of the six extremes yin thunder body has little effect. So, you should try to emulate heavenly tribulation with your red lightning heavenly tribulation method as much as possible while moving forward. Is that so? Got it. Then let's depart. Jian Myohun and I return to the twilight domain. Kagagugu. I send the signal to depart from above the barrier of the twilight domain, and the twilight domain begins to move gradually northward. Simultaneously, Jian Myohun transforms into a six-armed giant at the northern end of the twilight domain, takes out a six-colored flag, and begins to wave it wildly. Quaran Quararan. The multicolored lightning from the six-colored flag gathers in the air, converging into a single red lightning. Jian Myohun utters invocations towards the red lightning orb in front of him. The lightning orb explodes, and lightning with an aura very similar to heavenly tribulation spreads out like a curtain in front of the twilight domain. Kwajijijik. The twilight domain advances, erasing the hyphae beneath the land as it moves forward. Wuang. I focus my mind, surrounding the twilight domain with my consciousness to monitor for any possible incidents. It's when the massive body of the twilight domain enters the desert. Kagagugu. The entire land trembles, and the hyphae wriggling beneath the earth simultaneously release spores. There was no reaction when Jian Myohun and I entered, but now they react since a big prey has come. But it's futile. We yutting. For the heart tribe, the consciousness domain is both power and authority. Their manifestations are mostly based on the consciousness domain. However, their initially acquired consciousness domain rarely changes. It's the same for Kim Young-hoon and Jang Ik as well. With the consciousness domain they first acquired when reaching 5 energies converging to the origin, they perform all kinds of feats to defeat cultivators with consciousness that covers heaven and earth. However, I possess the consciousness domain of the heaven and earth tribes, along with the power of the heart tribe. My consciousness domain can cover the entire twilight domain and beyond. My consciousness surrounding the twilight domain becomes a storm. The formless storm, swirling with all of heaven's natural colors, repels every spore. As we traverse the vast and desolate desert, the fallen spores turn to ash and return to the earth. About a month passes. How far have we traveled over this immense desert? Is that it? We finally reach the source of the hyphae, spreading across this entire area. We succeed in arriving near the remains of the corrupted cultivator. Kwajijijijik. Jian Myohun roars, emitting red lightning from his 6 arms. A storm of red lightning sweeps in all directions, eradicating all the hyphae. Kwajijijijik. After clearing the hyphae, he sets up a barrier of red lightning around the twilight domain and looks at me. I nod. Jian Myohun, O Hyeonseok, and I step out of the twilight domain and walk towards the eroded remains. As for O Hyeonseok, it was revealed over the past month that the spores are absorbed when they come into contact with the purple aura he emits. Seeing that they are harmless to him, I decided to bring him along. The remains are massive. Horrible. I click my tongue as I look at the huge remains. It's evident that this remnant is still alive. Jian Myohun sticks his tongue out, looking between the remains and me. It's quite similar. No wonder you, who sits in the position of cult leader and resembles this, cause others to mistake us for a devilish cult. I don't want to admit it, but the remains of the cultivator eroded by a true person indeed resemble me. At the center of the hyphae, supplying power to the hyphae, is a pure black body with white skulls sprouting from it. Even through nether perception, it looks like a bizarre figure with death layered several times in one place. Truly, it resembles my outer appearance. Tisk, so they didn't call us a devilish cult for nothing. Then, me and Hyeonseok Hyeongnim will look around and find the sect's disciples. Jian Myohun and Oh Hyeonseok start to explore around, leaving the massive wreckage of about 30 zhang in size behind. I click my tongue and stare at the entity before me. Anyway, it's still alive, but it's quite pitiful. Emotions flow from each of the skulls. These emotions intertwine, forming a single consciousness domain. Indeed, these remains, despite their horrific state, are alive. Is it dreaming? The eroded one, receiving the gaze of a true person, seems to be dreaming a long dream while desolating this land. Did this person end up like this willingly? Wuang. I grip the all-heaven sword while contemplating. Can I cut it? After a moment of thought, I sheath the all-heaven sword. I can't. Attempting to cut it is possible. However, for some reason I feel a deep sense of endless foreboding emanating from within the remains, stopping me from swinging the all-heaven sword. I have a feeling that cutting it recklessly will bring significant misfortune. Found it, they're over here. Jian Myohun's voice comes from afar. I'm coming over there. I nod and start walking towards them. Then it happens. Shiver. A sinister feeling licks my spine. I quickly turn my head, raising the all-heaven sword. What enters my sight are the remains in which a pupil made of pure white light has formed inside an eye socket. Eyeballs form from within the eye sockets of the remnant with dozens of heads, staring directly at me. I quickly try to retreat, but the surroundings change instantly. Pazazazak. The surroundings shatter, and suddenly I am floating up above under a night sky. This place is... And the moment I look down, blood bursts from my 38 pairs of eyes. Pugwag. Korg. A woman. It seems as if I have seen a woman, whose limbs were grotesquely twisted and had holes punctured all over her body. I grip my teeth as I feel my head swelling uncontrollably. What did I just see? Unable to stand, I collapse on the spot and barely manage to regain my composure. I can't look down. Just then, quajujuduk. Suddenly, the force pressing down on me becomes overwhelmingly strong, and I fail to resist the weight of my head, slamming it down as if prostrating myself. There's something like a transparent barrier preventing me from falling below, but the void below is still clearly visible. No, if I look down. And then it happens. The woman I saw earlier is no longer there below. Instead, there is only a world, so vast that just perceiving it makes my head ache. Nether Ghost Realm. Yes, below is the entirety of the Nether Ghost Realm. What is this? I thought I saw a woman just now. I squint my eyes, extending my consciousness to identify whoever forced my head down with such force. But there is nothing within a radius of thousands of li. Nearby, stars are floating in the night sky, illuminating the darkness. Stars. Chill. Only then do I understand where I suddenly am. Crazy could this be? Above the Nether Ghost Realm. No, a place even higher. Outside the dimension of the Nether Ghost Realm. The place where true persons reside and overlook the Nether Ghost Realm. As soon as I realize this, a majestic voice resonates in my mind. Who are you? No. I feel it. Dozens of gazes are piercing into my body. Damn, are you saying true persons can summon beings from within the Nether Ghost Realm to beyond the dimension? Various thoughts race through my mind, but I decide to answer the voice that had just echoed in my mind. I am. We did not ask you, insect. Quajijijik. In an instant, my jaw shatters, making it impossible for me to speak. No, I can't even project my will outward. It's as if the very act of speaking has been sealed. While your excellency's words entered the Nether Ghost Realm and wreaked chaos everywhere, we have deliberated. But during our discussion, we discovered a frightening truth. None of us have ever corrupted something like that. Terrifying gazes seem to penetrate my body. Thus, there can only be one explanation. A being of at least true immortal is corrupting and manipulating someone beyond our knowledge. The true persons continue talking to me. No, U0026 NBSB. They continue speaking to the entity they believe is behind me. Please reveal your excellency's identity, and if there are any tasks you wish to entrust to us, we kindly ask that you do so. We have been observing the Nether Ghost Realm in our own way and have learned much over the countless ages, cultivating devotees in various places. Kagagagugu. As they speak, my entire body feels like it is being crushed. Your Excellency, we implore you to grant us an opportunity. And then I extend my arm. Wuduk wujujuduk. I stand up from my position. Quajuduk. It feels like attraction force on a cosmic scale is trying to crush my body, but I endure it. For some reason, I feel that I can. How can a mortal stand under the authority of a transcendent? I see, is the entity behind it lending their power. How can they possibly infuse power secretly to that thing under our scrutiny? I look around, piercing through the multitude of voices. Countless stars. And the gazes pretending to be stars. About 50 of them, perhaps. Yes, 50 entering nirvana true persons are casting stern gazes at me. Jijik. I try to draw forth the three great ultimates or the circuits, but realize it's impossible. So that's it. I understand what the true persons have done. They didn't drag me here. They temporarily pulled my spirit out of the dimension. My physical body must still be down there. I narrow my eyes. And with all my might, I push my heart essence and the something suppressed within it. Kuguk tuguguguguk. Just as I have lifted my body against the true person's attraction force, I draw out the speech they had sealed within me. Honorable true persons, this insect humbly speaks. Kuguguk. Just uttering a single word is excruciatingly difficult. It feels as if my entire body will shatter at any moment. But I can endure it. Because it's not my actual self here, only my spirit. Because only my spirit has been summoned, I can't call forth the three great ultimates or the circuits, which require the cultivation of the heaven and earth tribes. But conversely, as long as my mental strength is sufficient, I can endure. I am not under anyone's control, please send me back. However, the true persons murmur briefly among themselves, before sending their will to me. Insect, we will acknowledge the feat of you speaking before us and thereby enlighten you. If they truly are a great being, whether you realize it or not, they can influence your fate and history, guiding your actions at will. Do not dare to voice your insignificant opinions and disrupt our conversation. Wuduk wujujuduk. What would happen if I call forth the inverted cone, or the names of governing immortals? I want to do such a thing immediately, but speech itself is sealed, and I am barely able to express my own opinions. Thus, it's impossible to utter powerful words, and similarly, I can't call forth those names or symbols. Your Excellency, we beseech you to answer us. We remained silent even when your sinister follower wandered through the nether ghost realm, established a bizarre religion with a body piled with layers of ominous death, and disrupted the celestial energy of the nether ghost realm with cursed dolls connected to the bright cold realm. Your follower even approached our devotees and summoned heavenly tribulation right in front of them, trying to cause their annihilation. No matter if you are an honorable true immortal, you are not a great net immortal, so you cannot treat us with such disrespect. They ignore me entirely, continuing to speak to someone I don't even know. I grit my teeth. For some reason, that moment comes to mind. The despair I felt when facing 50 chi-building cultivators. Although now they are cute little things, at that time I felt like an insect. Hiding in a collapsed building, trembling and barely holding my breath, treated like a bug hiding behind Kim Jong-hoon. It feels like I have completely returned to that time. The situation itself is similar. Back then, the elders of the Mackley clan didn't even pay attention to me, focusing solely on chasing Kim Jong-hoon, just like these true persons right now. Neil, do not dare to direct those insolent eyes at us. Kwajujuduk. The overwhelming pressure pushes me down. But even under the cosmic forces, I don't kneel, merely looking at the ground. Everything is the same as back then. But there is something different. Many times over. Kagayuguk. I gather my will. Many times over, I have been treated like an insect. Wuang. I raise my head. But even an insect is not your plaything. I gather all my will and push the words up my throat. If you wish to converse, treat me properly. If not, you will be stung by the poison of an insect. Kagagugugu. Fury, Chinese letter. Immense fury fills the heavens. The true persons are furious. The situation is the same as before, but what has changed? It's that through several lifetimes, I have ceaselessly trained my will, my desire. Now, even if my mouth tears, I will say what needs to be said. Guarija. Through the all-heavens sword, I convert my mental power at the plane of soul into the plane of chi. The power of 5 elements and the power of yin and yang cover my entire body. Great mountain. Kuung. Light swirls in my hands. This is not an ordinary great mountain splitting emperor technique. Within it, I imprint the form of what I had seen. Spitting emperor. Scattering the great mountain splitting emperor technique towards the sky, I show them the inverted cone. Indecipherable screams shake the cosmic space. No, their screams seem to shake the entire nether ghost realm below. Your Excellency, do you truly intend to become our enemy? Kagagugugu. A true person with a furious voice shouts recklessly. Your follower will become miserable. We will drive its cult out of this land by any means necessary. Everything your follower says will be distorted in interpretation, and your follower will be annihilated and fall into the netherworld, or will be banished to another world, unable to do anything else. Uvio. Sensing the furious voice, I grin. Pasig Pazazezek. I shed my ghost king body. My human form emerges. I see Oyunhayan look up at the sky and say, "Talking like a dog, isn't that what you've been doing all along?" Being called a great ghost, devilish cult leader, vile devilish cult, was it just once or twice? For the past 200 years, I've done nothing but spread teachings, volunteer activities, and provide benefits everywhere. I even seldom went outside the Wuji religious order to avoid scaring people with my appearance and form. Yet all the factions have been hostile towards me and called me a public enemy. 200 years is not a short time, and wanting to be seen favorably by someone for that long is no simple matter. It's only natural for people to open their hearts as much as the time invested. But strangely, everyone remained in a bizarre misunderstanding until they were captured and saw the order with their own eyes. Is all this just a coincidence? I've been toyed with by fate many times. Do you think I can't feel the deja vu of fate now? You've already been distorting information about our order and twisting our perception to others, spreading it across the entire nether ghost realm. Haven't you been suppressing us for 200 years, making sure we can't spread far and wide by tampering with the plane of fate? And now, when I ask to have a proper conversation, you growl as if you're doing a huge favor. Scolding the true persons who are writhing madly after seeing the inverted cone, I smile. I've been looking for a way to return to the nether ghost realm again since earlier. And now I've found it. Take care, I'm leaving now. I already know. Due to their pact with Blood Yin, these people can never interfere in the middle realms. Since I heard it directly from Hyun, it must be certain. No matter how much they try to talk to the being behind me, such a being doesn't even exist. In the end, they'd think they are being ignored and try to kill me. In that case, it's better to refreshingly kick them in the butt and leave boldly. Reincarnation Judge of the Netherworld, Nether Ghost True Lord Yu Su Ryon, please let me back in. Once again, the true persons go crazy. I too feel a shock as if my soul is collapsing. But high-level information is more dangerous to higher beings, so they must have been even more shocked. And anyway, Kugaguguk. I calling the name, a strong attraction force forms between the nether ghost realm and me. Well then, goodbye. Payet. As the surroundings seem to glow white-hot, I return back inside the nether ghost realm. Kagagugu. In the cosmic space where Seo Yunhyan disappeared. There, numerous wills communicate fiercely across the boundless spacetime. The contents of the numerous wills seem noisy, but the topic is one. How could a mere insect directly confront the will of transcendence, talk back, scatter horrible things, and then escape? And among them, the star where the true person who had tried to talk to the being behind Seo Yunhyan is located, shines brightly. Indeed, is it in the process of completing the Earth Chinese letter. But how can that be possible? How can a mortal, even if the 5 blessings are acceptable, fuse all 6 extremes within itself? They are confused but soon solidify their will, causing the starlight to flicker again. Enough, there's no need to know. The being behind that thing must be lending their power, and since they are ignoring us like this, there's no choice. In order to prevent that being from exerting their authority here through that thing, we will either eliminate or drive their followers away through all the forces in the nether ghost realm. Wowung. At the true person's words, the stars scattered across the cosmic space flicker, expressing their will in agreement. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 353, Devilish Cult 6. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 353, Devilish Cult 6. TSDSDSSD. Upon opening my eyes, I see the remains glaring at me with eyes wide open right in front of me. TSSD. I transform into my human form and look at the remains. Did they call it a devotee? The true persons seem to refer to beings that have been eroded by them as devotees, Chinese letter, who decided they are devotees. They are just pitiful victims who accidentally glanced at the sky and met the wrong gaze, who would willingly choose to become like this. Wulung. I grasped the all-heaven sword. Just moments ago, I had hesitated to cut it down, but I will no longer. Cut. The will of the all-heaven sword and my own are united. I raise the sword high and elevate the all-heaven sword to a higher plane. A pure downward slash. From a higher plane to a lower plane. From a high position to a low position. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Deep mountain emerging Tao. Buwang. Shugwag. I cut down the true person's devotee glaring at me from their plane. The devotee, reaching about 30 zhang in height, is cleaved cleanly by the deep mountain, emerging Tao and begins to scatter. The ominous feeling I had earlier was merely the dread towards the true person behind the devotee. But due to the chaos caused from seeing the inverted cone, there is no longer any reason to be afraid. Chuang. Dozens of heads attached to the devotee's body melt all at once. The pitch-black body scatters into pieces, flying in all directions. Suddenly, amidst the spectacle, I notice an old woman in a neat black dress bowing slightly towards me. Thank you. Her will is conveyed to me. I simply nod my head in response. Chalalala. As she disappears, all of the hyphae covering this desert area turn to ashes and vanish. In the distance, I see Jian Myohoon and Oh Hyeon-seok walking towards me, levitating the 4 disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. We rescued all the disciples, but was that you who destroyed it? I nod, looking at the rescued Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect disciples, U0026 and BSB. Skull-shaped mushrooms are growing all over their bodies, but they soon turn to ash and scatter. Are these the ones who went all the way to the nether ghost realm? Yeah, they were affected by the cultivator eroded by a true person and collapsed like this. I seared their insides with heavenly tribulation to burn away all the toxins that had taken root inside. But they lack vital energy, so they won't wake up for a few days. We should probably leave them to Hong Fan. I gently stroked the heads of the sleeping disciples. Finally, all the survivors of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect have been successfully saved. It's been a long and arduous journey. I close my eyes. Hong Suryeong comes to mind. For now, I open my eyes again. Kagagugu. Gathering ghostly energy, I transform once more into a ghost king. Summon all the 4 great law protectors and all the guardian ghost kings. Quararung. Jian Myohoon turns into lightning and flies towards the distant twilight domain. Shortly after, he returns with the 4 great law protectors and the 13 guardian ghost kings, now including Beek Rin. Everyone listen. I speak, radiating ghostly energy. From now on, our order will establish itself on this land where a true person's traces were found. There's no need to worry about the true person's erosion. I have just erased all traces of the true person, so there will be no problems. I look around at everyone gathered here. Jia Myohoon, Oh Hyeon-seok, Kim Yeon, Hong Fan, and the 13 guardian ghost kings. They are all my precious connections. However, during the encounter with the traces of the true person, I faced the will of many true persons. The true persons have decided to oppose our order from now on. At my words, the intent of everyone present stirs violently. To prevent their fear and worry from spreading, I quickly continue. But their will is directed only at our order and myself. If you leave the order, there will be no problem. Anyone who wishes to leave from here can do so freely at any time. As you confirmed when you fled to this place, our order does not treat those who leave as traitors or enemies. Feel free to take your loved ones and leave. However, no one shows any signs of moving. Wei Shihan cackles and speaks. Haha, last time, the cult leader told those who did not trust the order to flee from the White Yin domain. But in the end, we overcame all adversities and escaped, didn't we? Those who left the Wuji religious order must be regretting it by now. He continues. If the cult leader says something like that, it must be because he has something to believe in, right? I smile bitterly at his words. That's right, there is something to believe in, but it's not something impressive this time either. Wulong. I display my cultivation realm through attraction force. And I explain about the side path. After successfully building the complete longevity axis, I will flee again. This time, it will not just be a change of region, but to an entirely different world. Even so will you follow. At my words, they look at each other. Wei Shihan strokes his chin and speaks. Certainly, us ghostly creatures cultivate best in the nether ghost realm. Yes, as expected, you all are. But what ghostly creatures fear the most is the attraction force of the netherworld. He grins. And to us, having a physical body that can escape the attraction force is extremely precious, something not easily traded even among family. Yet, the cult leader has provided us with such physical bodies for free. We've even grown stronger through the procedure and grace, so honestly, this gratitude is indescribable. Until we repay this gratitude, who would dare leave the order? It wasn't anything difficult for me, and it isn't anything that valuable. I just arbitrarily gave you puppet bodies. If the recipient is pleased, isn't that enough? Haha, we too have accepted it arbitrarily and intend to remain in the order arbitrarily. Thump, 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 thump. All the guardian ghost kings, even the newly joined Beek Rin who has recently undergone the procedure in grace, kneel down. Please accept us. Looking upon them, I tremble slightly. All right. I smile faintly. Then let's embark on a slightly long journey together. At my words, they all respond in unison, loudly and powerfully. Yes. I put away my smile and shout with a serious face. Guardian Law Protector Hong Fan, Left Law Protector Kim Yon, listen up. Bring the Twilight Domain here and have it land. From now on, we will reside on this land. The two law protectors will manage the Twilight Domain henceforth. Yes. Yes. Right Law Protector Oh Hyun Seok, Chief Law Protector Jeon Myung-hoon, listen up. From now on, this cult leader will enter a long, secluded cultivation to complete the longevity axis. Until now, I've been building it idly and slowly, but from now on, I will extend my consciousness properly to build the axis. I won't be able to move during this period, so guard this seat well. Yes. Yes. Kagagugu. The law protectors and ghost kings begin dragging the Twilight Domain and landing it on the land, and I watch the magnificent scene below with gleaming eyes. From now on, all the forces of the Nether Ghost Realm will come here. I intended to get along with the Black Ghost Palace, but if the true persons influence even the Black Ghost Palace, it's meaningless. I'm sorry for Yu Hai, but I can't let her go for now. We have truly become the public enemies of the Nether Ghost Realm. Not just the three major factions, but even the flower-painting Western Heaven Palace will join the fray. Previously, they might have sent a few integration stage grand cultivators to suppress the order, but from now on, they will designate the entire Wuji religious order as public enemy and attack us with that intent. If the true persons who have taken root in the Nether Ghost Realm for countless years move their forces, the outcome is clear. They will truly come at us with all their might. Before they arrive, I must complete the longevity axis as quickly as possible, open the side path, and return to the bright cold realm. This time for sure. I won't let my comrades die easily. Hamjin sits down and takes a deep breath, reminiscing about the past. He was just an ordinary beggar born in the distant corner of Yuhua country on the peaceful Clouds continent. Born in the outskirts of Yuhua, he had no grand dreams, only wishing to grow adequately big enough to work someday. However, that dream shattered when a band of robbers attacked his village. And so Hamjin slightly altered his goal. It was a worthless life anyway, so changing the goal wouldn't kill him. As he was sold to a slave trader, Hamjin thought, it would be nice to meet an adequately good master and live while working. Then Hamjin was sold to a cultivator, a ruthless cultivator practicing devilish arts. Hamjin's goal was shattered again. But he didn't tire and revised his goal once more. As he was experimented on by his self-proclaimed master, he thought, it would be nice if after being adequately experimented on, he could return to his hometown, even as an experimental subject. Then Hamjin's goal was shattered again. Because he discovered his master's research books and experiment journals that he had been studying when the master was away for a while. His master intended to remodel his disciples, create the most suitable body for practicing devilish arts, and switch to that body. At that point, there were 40 surviving disciples. Among them, Hamjin was considered one of the top-tier bodies by his master. His cultivation was only a Qi refining first or second star, but that didn't matter. He found out he possessed a unique constitution called the Ghost Furnace Body, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. The Ghost Furnace Body is said to be highly compatible with contacting the great beings of the upper realms, easily gaining their favor and borrowing their power. His master intended to borrow power from a great being in the upper realm and someday ascend. That was why he was targeting Hamjin's body. Upon realizing this, Hamjin's goal changed once again. I want to live. This time it wasn't just adequately. He truly wanted to live. Although it was a worthless life, dying without achieving anything was too unfair. I will survive. I will definitely live. From that day on, Hamjin secretly stole and read his master's books. And he learned how to communicate with the great beings of the upper realms. My body is suitable for borrowing the power of great beings through rituals. Then I will just use it. Hamjin took advantage of his master's absence to select a book from his master's library called the Wuji Ghost King Ritual Scripture and performed a ritual. And so he faced a great being. This being demanded something peculiar from Hamjin, took over his body, ascended to the sky to survey something, and then attempted to uproot the entire valley where Hamjin lived. Realizing Hamjin couldn't withstand it, the being retreated. In return for borrowing his body, the being granted Hamjin a unique sense. Wulong. Hamjin opens his eyes. All around him, countless yin and yang are swirling. The great being said to meet him again in 3 months. Hamjin is terrified of that being. A ghost king with 19 faces, weeping bloody tears and cultivating a cursed flower garden. A being with a form so terrifying it occasionally appears in his nightmares. Hamjin grits his teeth. Even so, that being is better than his master, who seeks to steal his life away entirely. O Great One! Taking advantage of his master's absence, Hamjin prays to the being. Please descend upon me. Kagagugugu. He finds himself in a pure white space. It's a familiar place, deep within his mental world. There he kneels down trembling with fear upon seeing a shadow with 19 heads entering the corner of the white space. O Great One, what do you desire from me? Hamjin felt it from their last encounter. This being wants something through him. Normally, such beings only grant wishes in exchange for something precious or one's lifespan, but if the being has something they want, he might not have to offer his lifespan. Whether the being knows his thoughts or not, they stare at Hamjin with their 19 heads and ask, "Are you using well the sense I gave you last time?" Pardon? Ah yes, I am using it very well. It's the truth. Though it's a sense granted by a malicious being, Hamjin finds it extremely useful. The reason Hamjin could read the Wuji Ghost King ritual scripture from his master's library was simple. While his master was experimenting in the adjacent research hall, one of the test subjects exploded, shattering not only the research hall but also the barrier set up in the library. Taking advantage of the broken barrier, Hamjin had secretly taken out the ritual scripture. But upon gaining this sense, he no longer needs to wait for such coincidences. He can vividly sense the heaven and earth spiritual energy. He can sense how the barrier is set up and predict which parts to touch to avoid triggering it. He navigated his master's library almost daily by reading the spiritual energy and avoiding the barriers. There's no worry about being watched or his master suddenly appearing in the library. The spiritual energy warns him of any impending danger. He only needs to maintain his sense of spiritual energy. He even dared to raid his master's spiritual elixir storage a few times. Thanks to that, Hamjin's cultivation rapidly soared, reaching the 3rd star of Qi refining. Truly, it has been of great help. I am immensely grateful for your precious assistance. To hear it has been helpful, I am pleased. Chills. Hamjin feels his entire body shiver, the voice of the terrifying being. He fears the being might suddenly say, "You've ripened well," and devour him at any moment. However, Hamjin swallows his saliva and waits for the being to continue. Well, anyway, you seem to have grown excellently. Very good. To think you've reached the 3rd star of Qi refining. Through your body, I can now manifest about 1 or 200th more of my power. The shadow laughs for a while before speaking. But it's not enough. After surveying this valley through your body, I realize the valley is quite heavy. They speak, revealing 38 eyes. I desire the power that lies beneath this valley. Kagagugugu. The shadow clenches their hand. Immediately, Hamjin's mental world begins to shake violently. No, that isn't all. Hamjin realizes that the outside is also shaking. Just by clenching their hand, the being is causing an earthquake throughout the entire valley. Child, for me to grasp that power, I need your help. What must I do to help? Hem. The giant being slightly tilts their head toward Hamjin. Kagagugu. Even that seems to cause Hamjin's mental world to darken. You are still too weak. For a regular cultivator to properly accept even a tenth of my power, they will need to be at least at the nascent soul stage. Hamjin's jaw drops in shock at those words. Non-nascent soul stage. Even his master is only at the mid-core formation stage. Let alone nascent soul, his master grits his teeth, hoping to reach grand perfection core formation in his lifetime. Hence, hearing the term nascent soul makes Hamjin's mind go blank. However, thanks to your special constitution, you seem to accept my power a bit better. With your constitution, you can accept my power more easily. Even if you only reach the core formation stage, you will be able to accept a tenth of my power. Then, borrowing your body, I can completely overturn this cumbersome valley and obtain what lies beneath it. Fortunately, reaching the core formation stage is within the realm of reason for Hamjin. However, it's equally daunting and distant. Forgive me, O Great One. To reach the core formation stage, I will need to cultivate tirelessly for the next 200 years. Moreover, my master plans to steal my body in a few years. His eyes tremble with fear. Suddenly, the worst outcome crosses his mind. His master, already being at the core formation stage, can steal Ham Jin's body and implant his own golden core to immediately reach the core formation stage. If that happens, both the being and his master would be satisfied. The being would draw power from the master, and the master would borrow the being's power. Ultimately, the only one suffering unjustly would be the chi-refining third star Ham Jin. As he breaks into a cold sweat, the great being speaks in a gentle voice. "Do not worry, I am here to help you and I will not betray you. But indeed, 200 years is too long, not just for you, but I do not have that much time to wait either." Then, the shadow, with their 38 eyes burning with ghost fire, rests one of their heads on their hand and stares at Ham Jin for a moment. "Then we must resort to a shortcut." The shadow chuckles. 1 year. I will elevate you to the chi building stage within 1 year. Pardon? The proposal is so absurd that Ham Jin's eyes widen in astonishment. The chi building stage is no child's play. Yet the being speaks casually as if they're saying, "I will make you breakfast. In exchange for that power, you will retrieve the power guarded beneath by the dragon vein of this valley, of the entire country, and offer it to me." Didn't the Great One say that to obtain it, the entire valley must be overturned? If you were to simply obtain it by brute force, yes. Of course, I know you don't have that kind of strength. But instead of strength, you are a resident of this world. Through the spell I will teach you, weave the dragon veins of this valley. Gather all the nearby power in this area into your grasp. Like spinning threads to make clothes and weaving nets, interlace the dragon veins and create the formation I will teach you. The shadow laughs. "When the time comes, I will activate the formation. The dragon vein will move, drawing me to the power. What do you say? Will you accept my proposal?" Ham Jin ponders the shadow's proposal. And he realizes, no matter how much he contemplates it, there is no better offer. And in any case, without borrowing this being's power, he will inevitably be stripped of his body and die. There is no better proposal. He is in a position where he has to grab onto any lifeline, no matter how rotten. "I can't be picky." Finally, having made his decision, Ham Jin speaks with a determined expression. "Yes, I will follow the Great One's words." "Hoo-hoo, very good. Now that you have decided, listen carefully to the knowledge I will impart to you." Whisper, 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 whisper. As Ham Jin communes with the Great Being, he receives the knowledge the being bestows upon him. Pugwag. TSD, this experimental subject died too. In Yuwa, there exists beings known as the three great sage gods. They are the legendary core formation stage cultivators of the Yuwa country, and among them, the strongest in devilish arts, known as the Devil God. Black Tomb Old Monster Yomgak. He briefly frowns with an unpleasant expression at the dead experimental subject, before suddenly smashing the altar where the subject lay with his fist. "Damn it, another failure. Why are my disciples so weak? How can they ever become a suitable body for me at this rate?" His enraged shout echoes throughout Split Turtle Valley. The numerous chi-refining stage disciples within the valley tremble at his thunderous roar. "Damn it, damn it, damn it. There are only 39 left now. Why is there no one showing any results?" Yomgak bites his lips and tears at his hair. Unable to contain his rage, he burns the corpse of the dead experimental subject and shouts, "Gather here immediately, you useless things." At his command, his disciples quickly gather in front of Yomgak's cave residence. Yomgak looks over his disciples. Apart from 2 who have reached the 6th star of chi refining, the rest are at the 1st or 2nd star, with even some failing to properly achieve the chi gathering stage. "You useless things, why were you born without any useful qualities? Why? Your worthless lives only have value when they are used to extend the life of a sage god like me." "Quang quang!" he shouts, throwing objects from his laboratory at the disciples below the chi gathering stage. Still unsatisfied, he begins beating the chi refining 1st and 2nd star disciples. After a while, only 3 intact disciples remain in his laboratory. Chi refining 6th star disciple YG. Another of the same stage, Yu Yun. And Chi refining 3rd star Ham Jin. Looking at the Chi refining 6th star disciples, YG and Yu Yun, Yomgak speaks with bloodshot eyes. "You bastards should be ready to perform the 7-star ritual by now, right? If you're not ready today, I'll grind you into pills." The 2 disciples tremble and nod their heads. "Yes, yes, master. I have fully reached great completion in the 6th star. I only need to perform the 7-star ritual. Me too. HMPH foolish things. He looks at them with dissatisfaction before finally turning to Ham Jin. Him? He slowly approaches Ham Jin, feeling his body and checking his teeth. Good, very healthy. Have you been brushing your teeth well lately? Yes, yes. Thanks to the high-quality salt master provided last time, I clean them thoroughly every day and use perfume oil to make them smell good. Good, you must be used to bathing by now, and you're exercising diligently. Yes, I think I'm starting to build muscle recently. Haha, very good, excellent, and let's see. Oh, surprising. You've already reached the mid-stage for the 3rd star of chi refining. Yes. Haha, wonderful. But as I've told you many times, don't focus solely on training. Go outside, get some sunlight, and put your best effort into building a healthy and robust body. Understood. Yeomgak pats Ham Jin's head with a kind expression. A demeanor that anyone would think is that of a master doting on his favorite disciple. However, none of those present envy or look at Ham Jin with jealousy. On the contrary, every time Yeomgak pats Ham Jin as if handling a precious item, everyone looks at Ham Jin with pity. There isn't a single disciple who doesn't know that Yeomgak has half decided to use Ham Jin as the target for his body-swapping technique. Now then, I'm going out to gather some materials, so clean the entire research hall thoroughly while I'm gone. After patting Ham Jin, Yeomgak doesn't even glance at the other disciples as he grabs his storage stroll and leaves the cave residence. He uses the flying escape technique to exit the valley. Since the earthquake, Ham Jin has been acting strangely. Yeomgak furrows his brow. A few months ago, a large earthquake struck the Split Turtle Valley. As a result, some of the materials Yeomgak had painstakingly acquired were destroyed, driving him into a rage. But the real issue is that after the earthquake, Ham Jin has changed subtly in a strange way. Previously, Ham Jin would often sneak into Yeomgak's library to steal glances at the books. Of course, Yeomgak let it slide, knowing that Ham Jin's body would become his in a few years anyway. However, Ham Jin has not once snuck into the library since the earthquake. The multiple layers of barriers Yeomgak has cunningly set up around the library are all functioning without any issues. And today, once again, an unexpected earthquake caused his experiment to fail, resulting in the experimental subject dying without yielding any results. And once again, Ham Jin had acted strangely. Normally, Ham Jin would flinch despite trying to hide it whenever Yeomgak touches him. But today was different. There was no reaction at all. No, beyond having no reaction, Yeomgak felt as if Ham Jin was looking down on him. Why has that little brat suddenly changed? That kid must be hiding something from me. He's up to something. Yeomgak ponders for a moment before smirking. As expected, is it that? The secret at the bottom of the valley. That mysterious power must have caused the earthquake and affected Ham Jin, who is susceptible to external forces. Yeomgak clenches his fist, his face showing a greedy expression. If I can obtain that power, reaching grand perfection core formation might not be a dream. With that power in Ham Jin's body, I might even reach nascent soul in this lifetime. Ha ha ha. If I reach the nascent soul stage and offer Ham Jin's body to an otherworldly entity for their power, even the heavenly being stage won't be out of reach. Black Tomb Old Monster Yeomgak. Laughing maniacally, he leaves Split Turtle Valley. Upon reaching the heavenly being stage, I won't just be a so-called sage god but a true sage god. T-yeving. A clear wave emanates from somewhere. A thread of my consciousness descends into a decaying corpse realm. From that realm, someone's lifespan is being drawn towards me. I receive the lifespan and convert it into longevity axis, building it. Recently, I have nearly synchronized my mind with the void spirit pond, extending my consciousness to numerous lower realms to accept even more offerings at a faster pace. Today alone, I have been given offerings 3 times. Of course, 2 of them were from vile devil path cultivators, so I didn't accept any compensation and instead crushed the heads of the devilish cultivators that conducted the ritual. 1/3 of the countless offerings are like this. Sacrificial offerings from devil path cultivators. I always ignore such offerings, so the completion of the longevity axis was not particularly fast. Nevertheless, with my mind synchronized with the void spirit pond and extending my consciousness to the lower realms in earnest, the completion of the longevity axis became quite rapid. How peculiar. However, recently, I began to ponder something as I observed the rapidly completing longevity axis. To be precise, it was after facing the entering nirvana true persons. The entering nirvana true persons pulled my spirit out of the dimension through attraction force. Their method is strikingly similar to how I extend my consciousness to the lower realms, to draw in my contractors' minds into the world of consciousness. The contractors who have offered tributes are connected to me, allowing me to reconnect and pull them in any time. And this fact allows for a certain hypothesis. To draw someone in with attractive force is providing required. Providing my power. Benefiting them. Such acts seem necessary to establish a connection with my mind through attraction force, allowing me to pull them in at any time without the need of an offering. As evidence, no connection was formed with those devilish cultivators whom I only crushed, caused earthquakes and tsunamis, cursed, or inflicted irreversible fatal injuries upon right after being summoned. If I could connect with such vile beings, I'd visit them for fun and shove calamities upon them, but alas. In short, those who are given the act of providing, by me are connected through attraction force, while those who aren't are not. And acts of providing signify blessings. The fact that acts of providing establish a connection through attraction force means that blessings are the true force of attraction. Why do cultivators handle attraction force starting from the four-axis stage? This hypothesis allows me to understand this a little. It's because cultivators at the four-axis stage are qualified to oversee blessings, and sharing blessings means connecting people. And the connection between people means attraction force. But when I think about it this way, it's strange that the entering nirvana true persons pulled me in with attraction force. They never bestowed any blessings upon me. On the contrary, they only scattered calamities. Even so, I was drawn to them. In that case, there are two possibilities. Either they bestowed blessings upon me without my consent at some point, or their summoning of me was due to misfortune Chinese letter rather than a blessing. Misfortune has no substance. It merely refers to the absence of blessings. Giving misfortune is just an expression. In reality, it's closer to the concept of taking away existing blessings. But I cannot form connections with those who have taken away my blessings. If they never bestowed blessings upon me, how are they connected to me? Did they summon me, intending to give blessings? Only now do I understand the principle by which the entering nirvana true persons drew my spirit above the dimension in an instant. My contractors and I give each other what we need. In this way, attraction force is generated between us. Just as the living beings of the lower realms call upon me with the Wuji Ghost King ritual scripture with offerings to summon my mind, the entering nirvana true persons also performed a summoning ritual from outside the dimension. The calls of the lower realm beings are so small that I can choose not to respond to their summons. However, the voices of the true persons are so immense, and the attraction force of their existence is so powerful that I have no choice but to be drawn to their summoning ritual. The way the beings of the lower realms call upon me is based on the concept of offering something. The act of offering is merely stated as such due to the difference in realms. In reality, it's just a matter of giving and receiving. In short, the entering nirvana true persons summon me by performing a ritual to give blessings to me. In doing so, they hope to connect with the being they mistakenly perceive to be behind me through attraction force. When my thoughts reach this point, I touch upon something. Wait. If the essence of attraction force is the exchange of blessings, wealth, longevity, health, and love of virtue entail exchanging what is needed with beings of the lower realms, connecting with them to acquire these concepts. But think about it. From the beginning, if I just give my lifespan to the nether ghost realm, and the nether ghost realm gives me the longevity axis, wouldn't an attraction force be formed between the nether ghost realm and myself? Since the nether ghost realm symbolizes longevity, wouldn't the direct attraction force with the nether ghost realm be the true longevity axis? The lifespan needed to build one axis is 10,000 years. Each time an axis is built, a lifespan of 10,000 years is granted. A cultivator at the four-axis stage receives a total of 50,000 years of lifespan. 10,000 years when first reaching the four-axis stage, and 10,000 years for each axis built thereafter. I understand now. My simple reflection, which evolved from the realization of the true nature of attraction force and the methods of the entering nirvana true persons, finally reaches a conclusion that cultivators who practice immortal cultivation solely for longevity and immortality would never arrive at. The true name of the four-axis stage isn't the four-axis stage. I now realize the true name of the four-axis stage. // asterisk. Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 354, Devilish Cult 7. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Kugagugagug. Under the dark sky of the Nether Ghost Realm. At the northern end of the Stable Realm, bordering the Chaos Realm. In that vicinity, a colossal cloud of dust rises. Chief Law Protector, another grand cultivator-level Ghost King has arrived. Yeah, I see. Jian Myohoon, standing at the edge of the Twilight Domain with his arms crossed, receives reports from the ghostly creatures, gazing at the distant dust cloud rising. They're releasing an incredible killing intent. He speaks calmly, sitting down and caressing the hand of Jin Sohei. Her hand, fried and devoid of moisture, is still preserved exactly as it had been, thanks to Jian Myohoon's special preservation treatment. Watching the nonchalant Jian Myohoon, Oh Hyun-seok and Kim Yeon approach from behind. By the way, Myohoon, is this okay? Including the grand cultivator-level Ghost King who just arrived, there are now 30 integration stage Ghost cultivators. It's true. 6 months have passed since they established themselves in the area where the true person's devotee resided. During the time Seo Yun-hyun was in seclusion, forces from all over the Nether Ghost have gathered. It looks as if the entire Nether Ghost realm is amassing forces to wage a full-scale war against the Wuji religious order. There's no need to worry from now on. It seems the 4 great factions of the Nether Ghost realm are preparing for a full-scale war, and in a few months, there might be hundreds of integration stage cultivators gathered. Seeing him laugh heartily, Oh Hyun-seok's worried expression deepens. How about calling that Yeonwei person back now? Are you sure this is all right? Well, our ancestor is knowledgeable in many areas, but sometimes she can be quite careless. Sometimes it's better to trust Seo Yun-hyun over the ancestor. What if he makes a wrong decision? Even if it seems like a mistake, it's better to trust him. He clenches Jin Sohei's hand tightly as he mutters. If I had only trusted my colleague's words back then, perhaps Sohei might not have died. Seeing this, Oh Hyun-seok looks a bit sympathetic. All right, I will trust him too. At that moment, flash, boom. From the camp of the 4 major factions alliance, a spear of light shoots towards the Twilight Domain. The spear of light, imbued with the energy of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness, burns through the ghostly energy of the Nether Ghost realm as it flies towards them. Oh Hyun-seok takes a step forward upon seeing this. They're finally starting to pick a fight. A purple aura begins to rise from his entire body when suddenly, Kim Yeon steps past Oh Hyun-seok and moves forward. Wowung. With her pink robe fluttering, she takes her stance. Jian Myohoon looks at Kim Yeon with a slightly startled expression and asks cautiously, Hey Kim Yeon, you okay? But Kim Yeon does not answer. Instead, she chews her lips anxiously and mutters with unstable eyes. No, I can't forgive this. Seo Yun-hyun is mine. I can't forgive anyone who tries to harm Seo Yun-hyun. Churak. She stomps her foot and soars into the sky, raising her left hand towards the spear of light. Quang. The spear of light, imbued with the energy of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness, bounces into the sky and spins around. Kim Yeon shifts her stance in midair, pulling back her right hand imbued with overwhelming strength. As the spear falls downwards, it reaches Kim Yeon's eye level. She then precisely swings her pulled-back right hand towards the hilt of the spear. Kyuang. A pinkish wave ripples through the air, and the spear of light is shot back towards its origin. Kugwagwagwang. The light of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness explodes from the direction of the Nether Ghost Realm Alliance's camp, spreading an atmosphere of chaos. Taku. After demonstrating this series of martial prowess, Kim Yeon lands back on the ground, biting her lips as she glares towards the enemy camp. But no further attacks follow. Jian Myohoon looks at Kim Yeon with uneasy eyes. The cycle of her madness is shortening. There had been previous instances of Kim Yeon's madness flaring up. However, it always seemed to subside when Seo Yun-hyan was nearby, so it had never been a major problem. But now that Seo Yun-hyan is in seclusion, Kim Yeon's condition has rapidly deteriorated. Jian Myeong-hoon observes Kim Yeon. Having nearly gone mad himself after losing Jin So-hye, he understands. Kim Yeon is in a very dangerous state. But he can't understand why. Just why is her madness acting up? There were no issues on Earth. It wasn't as if she lost a lover like he did, nor had she absorbed numerous ghosts like Kang Min-hee, nor is she undergoing intense training like Seo Yun-hyan or Oh Hyan-seok. Though the time when she was captured by the Mad Lord was tough, she had said it wasn't that difficult thanks to Seo Yun-hyan's remote support and comfort. It's strange. To him, Kim Yeon's madness appears very out of place. It's as if someone implanted the madness. But Jian Myeong-hoon doesn't delve too deeply. If there was a problem, Seo Yun-hyan would have taken action. The fact that Seo Yun-hyan went into seclusion while leaving Kim Yeon unattended indicated that he believes she could overcome it on her own. Since Seo Yun-hyan trusts Kim Yeon, I should trust her too. Jian Myeong-hoon caresses Jin So-hye's hand and closes his eyes. Right, So-hye. He trusts his colleagues. Even if they seem unstable on the surface, trusting them means leaving the results to them. He trusts Seo Yun-hyan, Kim Yeon, and Oh Hyan-seok. He trusts the guardian ghost kings and also the Wuji religious order. So instead of worrying about Kim Yeon, my job is to protect the order with all my strength until Seo Yun-hyan's seclusion ends. A faint red lightning flows from his eyes. As the chief law protector of the Wuji religious order, I, Jian Myeong-hoon, command you, do not intercept attacks like the one just now, Kim Yeon. Instead, leave them to the right law protector Oh Hyan-seok. Kim Yeon, you are responsible for mobilizing puppets to block large-scale offensives and counter major attacks. Jian Myeong-hoon gently places Jin So-hye's hand back into the wooden box and puts it inside his robe before standing up. Creating confusion and poisoning the enemy's camp is Hong Fan's role. Intercepting long-range attacks is Oh Hyan-seok's. Large-scale offensives are Kim Yeon's, and I will handle the grand cultivator-level ghost kings who attack directly. Remember your roles well from this point on. Kim Yeon stares at Jian Myeong-hoon for a moment, then nods, seemingly accepting it even within her madness. And several days pass. Kagagugu. From all across the Nether Ghost Realm, more and more grand cultivator-level ghost kings begin gathering at the opposing camp. As their numbers increase, so does the frequency of attacks towards the Twilight Domain. Kwang, Oh Hyan-seok, transformed into a giant of stars, swings away a green talisman with azure wing heavenly shatter, clicking his tongue. My hands are numb. Is this the strike of an integration stage cultivator? His face is deeply troubled. Are you really sure we can handle this? There seems to be more than 50 integration stage cultivators now. It's fine if I use that. I have the confidence to hold them off for a moment. Why, yeah, you have that, don't you? But even as Jian Myeong-hoon speaks, his expression does not look good. Finish your seclusion quickly, Seo Yun-hyan. In a short-term battle, Jian Myeong-hoon can unleash power comparable to that of 50 integration grand cultivators using a special method. But this method poses significant risks even for Jian Myeong-hoon. Moreover, if the grand cultivators continue to gather, even Jian Myeong-hoon will run out of options. I will protect and trust you, Seo Yun-hyan, so please, hurry. All he can do is trust and wait for Seo Yun-hyan. Jian Myeong-hoon contemplates his cultivation at the grand perfection 4-axis stage, gazing tensely at the opposing camp. Kagagugu. Inside a dark secret chamber. Deep within, a boy who has reached the 14th star of Qi refining, the stage of infinite spiritual cloud, is circulating spiritual clouds around him. And suddenly, the boy half opens his eyes and inhales the spiritual clouds swirling around him. Simultaneously, Kururung, a sound like thunder rumbles from within his dantian, and a spiritual cloud forms inside him. Wowung, a faint but pure spiritual force flows within the boy's body. The boy Hamjin brightens up. Finally, he can't hide his delight as he watches the pure spiritual force emanating from his body. I've reached the Qi building stage. Reading the celestial energy and seeing that his lifespan has increased by 300 years, he is overjoyed. Finally, I've also reached the rank of a true demigod. It's then A man dressed in white in front of him chuckles and clicks his tongue. You've only just barely reached the chi building stage. Manage your achievement well and stabilize your realm. It will be a while before you can surpass your core formation stage master. Yes, it will indeed take some time to become a sage god from a demigod. Right? Well, the core formation stage is not an easy realm. Anyway, your work should speed up now. Yes, I can feel that the Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets has become even more active. Hamjin operates the formula of the Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets. He has learned from the Great Being around a year ago. The light of the dragon vein converges in the dark sealed room. He heard that this was originally a method for the chi building stage, but the man in white before him has modified it so can be learned from the chi refining stage. When Hamjin uses this method, he feels as if he can grasp the dragon veins within the valley vividly. During the chi refining stage, I could barely sense the position of a single dragon vein, but now I can vaguely discern the locations of dozens, even hundreds of dragon veins. He smiles. For the past year, he has been twisting the directions of the dragon veins all over Split Turtle Valley, avoiding the eyes of his master Yom Gok. The dragon veins in various parts of Split Turtle Valley have become entangled before he knew it, beginning to form the formation that the Great Being initially demanded. Now that Hamjin has reached the chi building stage, it will be much easier to complete the formation. Anyway, once I modify the formation a little more, and the Great One activates it, yes, you will be free from your master. Finally, thank you for everything up until now. I would like to express my gratitude in advance. It's thanks to you that I've reached the chi building stage, Sir Fighting Ghost. Haha, it's because you followed diligently. Hamjin offers a heartfelt thanks to the existence bestowed upon him by the Wuji Ghost King, the infinite fighting ghost. He recalls the events from a year ago. The words of the great being, the Wuji Ghost King, echoes in his mind. I will teach you a method, but it will be difficult for you to comprehend. Therefore, I will assign you a helper to interpret this method for you. After encountering the Wuji Ghost King in the world of consciousness, Hamjin saw a new entity when he woke up. Mysterious man dressed in white. He told Hamjin to call him Infinite Fighting Ghost and introduced himself as the helper assigned by the Wuji Ghost King. The term ghost Chinese letter is not just an empty word. He can only be seen by Hamjin, and no one else in the Split Turtle Valley, including his master, are aware of Fighting Ghost's presence. Over the past year, Infinite Fighting Ghost had meticulously taught Hamjin the method and sometimes guided the flow of his energy, helping him refine his realm. Thanks to this, Hamjin has been able to reach the chi building stage in such a ridiculously short period. But Sir Fighting Ghost, why didn't the Wuji Ghost King personally teach me the method and instead send you? Hamjin asks as he opens the door to the dark chamber. Fighting Ghost smiles. Didn't I tell you before? The king is spreading their consciousness across many worlds and granting the wishes of many beings, so they don't have much leisure. I see. Well, if the Wuji Ghost King had taught me personally, it might have been a bit terrifying. Haha, you might have been scared to death. Fighting Ghost teases Hamjin with a kind face, and Hamjin also smiles faintly. However, he soon erases the smile from his face. Not long after leaving the secret chamber, his master, Yom Gok, rushes up to him with an excited expression and begins to touch his body. Really, truly, this is real, haha, to reach this realm in such a short time. You are indeed my favorite disciple. Ah, excellent, such a vibrant body overflowing with pure spiritual force. Yom Gok is so excited that he almost drools as he scrutinizes Hamjin's body. Hamjin glances at Infinite Fighting Ghost beside him. Yom Gok is entirely unaware of Fighting Ghost, and Fighting Ghost nods at Hamjin while speaking. It's another test, remain still. Hamjin nods. Since Infinite Fighting Ghost had started hovering around Hamjin, he has always informed Hamjin about Yom Gok's intentions whenever Yom Gok tried to do something to him. He pretends to like you, but he is quite wary of you. He is highly suspicious of you reaching the chi building stage without any chi building pills in such a short time. Hamjin swallows hard. At that moment, Yom Gok laughs heartily and pats Hamjin on the shoulder. With my disciple growing so robustly, I have no regrets. Now that it's come to this, I'll pass everything on to you 3 days from now. Hamjin's eyes tremble at his words. That means... It means that now that Hamjin's body is sufficiently mature, Yom Gok plans to seize it. Hamjin is terrified, but under the eyes of fighting ghost watching over him, he manages to show no reaction. For Master to pass on everything to me, it is a great honor. Yes, it pleases me that you are pleased. Yom Gok looks at Hamjin with a meaningful gaze and smiles. In 3 days, I will invite all the sage gods of Yuwa and pass on my natal Dharma treasure, the Black Tomb Seal, Chinese letter, to you. I will declare you as my successor in front of them, so be mindful of your conduct and make no mistakes on that day. After patting Hamjin on the shoulder, Yom Gok turns around and leaves Hamjin's cave residence. Sir Fighting Ghost, what should I do? He plans to seize my body in 3 days. No, besides that. Hamjin asks in confusion. The 3 sage gods of Yuwa are known to be on bad terms, but he's inviting them to declare me as his successor. What does this mean? Fighting Ghost chuckles at this. Perhaps for some reason, those 3 core formation individuals have formed an alliance. What? Hamjin's face turns pale. For Hamjin, who has hoped to escape from his master's grasp by taking advantage of the bad relations among the 3 sage gods, this is a terrifying revelation. But Fighting Ghost smiles nonchalantly. Do not worry. It seems that what those 3 at the core formation stage want might be the same as what the Wuji Ghost King desires. Judging by the talk about the Dharma treasure, it seems they intend to use the Dharma treasure to open a path underground. In that case, you might not need to adjust the formation further. Pardon? Do not worry. Through my abilities, I have already uncovered your master's plans, even the parts you do not know. He intends to use a body-triggering spell to quickly open a path to the underground. After that, he plans to quickly take over your body. Hamjin bites his lip as he listens to Infinite Fighting Ghost. Sir Fighting Ghost, can I survive? It isn't that he doesn't trust the Wuji Ghost King who sent him, but Infinite Fighting Ghost is a being with barely enough energy to be in the Qi gathering stage. And though the Wuji Ghost King is a great one, they reside in a distant otherworld, while his master is right in front of him. My master, the Black Tomb Old Monster Yom Gok, is a sage god, said to never die until his golden core is shattered, a god of the human world. I didn't expect the critical moment to come so quickly. Hamjin, consumed by anxiety, grinds his teeth. Sir Infinite Fighting Ghost, please tell me, can I really overcome that sage god? Infinite Fighting Ghost looks at him, seeming to want to persuade him for a moment, then sighs. Do not worry, have no doubt and believe. I will show you a new future. You will one day reach a realm where those core formation individuals are nothing to you. Be but Wu-Weng. However, before Hamjin can ask further, Infinite Fighting Ghost turns into a gust of wind and disappears from Hamjin's sight. His voice echoes in the ears of the anxious Hamjin. Do not worry, I have already entered the realm and I have enough power to save you alone. A cryptic statement. But Hamjin, feeling the confident tone of that voice, can only bite his lip and wait in belief. Kagagugu. Nether Ghost Realm. Twilight Domain. At the forefront, the Law Protectors and Guardian Ghost King of the Wuji religious order stand in formation, watching the other side. The ground is shaking. The stars are emitting ominous light, and sinister glows visible to the naked eye are spilling from the opposing camp. Oh Hyeonseok swallows hard, and Kim Yeon reveals an ominous insanity. At the center stands Jeon Myohoon, his eyes gleaming. 96 integration stage cultivators, and 7 devotees corrupted by true persons. In the distance, 7 ghost kings, each with multiple heads and resembling Seo Yoon Hyan, float in the air. Jeon Myohoon can sense it instinctively. Everyone be alert, they are all here now. Even though all the factions of the Nether Ghost Realm designated them as public enemies, not all of their forces can come. They need manpower to guard and manage their own domains, so each faction probably sent as many as they could within their limits. Seeing no more integration Ghost Kings gathering, this seems to be all of them. But even so, there are 108 integration Grand Cultivators. Seo Yoon Hyan could barely perish together with about 10 Grand Cultivators. Can I protect the Twilight Domain from them? Jeon Myohoon shakes his head. There is no room for doubt. He has to protect at all costs. At that moment, Kim Yeon's eyes flicker. They're coming. Jeon Myohoon's eyes flash at those words. It's exactly as she said. those who had been launching spells from afar, until now begin to move towards them. The faces of everyone present, including Jian Myohoon, are filled with tension. But despite the tension, Jian Myohoon grits his teeth and moves forwards. Protect me, Sohei. Kun 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 kwajijijek. With each step he takes, his stature seems to grow larger, and before long, Jian Myohoon transforms into a six-armed giant. The four axes built through the five elements axes tremble within Jian Myohoon. Attack! And from afar, the seven devotees, the true persons, corrupted bodies, begin to exert their power. Kiyala. Aliva. The ghost kings resembling Seo Yun Hyan, with multiple heads, simultaneously open their mouths, unleashing numerous beams of light towards the twilight domain. Some charge in with their own bodies, while others pull out ghost kings from their mouths and throw them forwards. And Jian Myohoon, with his eyes shining, brings his 6 hands towards his dantian. Weiyang. Behind his head, a circular halo appears. From his dantian, 4 axes emerge. Heavenly circle and earthly bearings. I will begin heaven and earth unity. Kwajijijijik. As lightning flashes, Jian Myohoon's heavenly circle and earthly bearings unite. Simultaneously, Kwarvirarung. An enormous heavenly tribulation pours down towards Jian Myohoon like a waterfall from the sky. The ghost kings of the 4 great factions wear incredulous expressions at the sight. This lunatic, I've heard he handles lightning divine powers, but he's advancing right before a fight. Is he insane? He must have a death wish. Everyone attack. The ghost kings, without revealing their emotions, launch their attacks towards Jian Myohoon. And then, Kwarvirarung. The heavenly tribulation curves, redirecting from Jian Myohoon towards those attacking him. Kwayang. Even the devotees who have been corrupted by the true persons flinch and halt at the overwhelming aura of the heavenly tribulation. And from the center of the heavenly tribulation storm, Jian Myohoon smiles. My apologies, but I become strongest when facing the heavenly tribulation. Kwajijijijik. The heavenly tribulation is imbued with colors. From blue and gold, the dual-colored heavenly tribulation begins to turn red. The sky turns crimson. This is my elixir and dharma treasure. Kwajijijijik. The heavenly tribulation which is crashing down towards Jian Myohoon condenses calmly in his hand, transforming into a spear of lightning. In other words, it shall be by my will. Kwarvirarung. The spear of lightning pierces through the clouds and soars into the sky. It appears almost like a sacred light connecting heaven and earth. As it ascends, continuing until it seems it will reach the stars, Jian Myohoon grips the elongated spear of lightning and grins. Come at me, you shall never set foot in the twilight domain. Kwajijijijik. Jian Myohoon swings the spear of lightning. The heavenly tribulation spear, boasting a colossal length, is swung towards the ghost kings. In the darkness, I open my eyes to the voices of countless beings. What is the true name of the 4-axis stage? It's so simple. If it's called heavenly circle and earthly bearings, why is the stage after heavenly being called 4-axis? Shouldn't the stage following heavenly being include the name Earth, Chinese letter? Earth axis, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Yes, the first stage of the middle boundary should be called Earth axis, not 4-axis. The Earth axis stage. Then, shall I properly enter the Earth axis stage? Finally, I've gathered the lifespan of 10,000 years. All that remains is to obtain the true longevity axis. I begin preparations for the longevity axis ritual, while Jian Myohoon enters heaven and earth unity. The conclusion of all the events in the nether ghost realm is now imminent. / ********. Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 355, Earth Axis, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 355, Earth Axis, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. A lifespan of 10,000 years has been gathered. During the past years, I scattered sacrificial rituals across the lower realms to gather this longevity axis. Through these sacrificial rituals, I accumulated 7,000 years of lifespan, and I took an additional 3,000 years from my own lifespan to reach a total of 10,000 years. Now, the only thing left is to completely compress this longevity axis and make it mine, and to perform the ritual to announce to the nether ghost realm that I have obtained the longevity axis. Well, I form an altar in the darkness and gaze upon the pillar of light that forms before my eyes. A pillar created by the gathered lifespan of 10,000 years. Once this pillar undergoes just one more refinement, the longevity axis will be complete. But why? Why do I feel uneasy as I look at this pillar? Why? It's not like I am taking more lifespan from the living beings of the lower realms. Neither am I lacking in the strength to save my colleagues. Nor is it time to hesitate. Even at this moment, my comrades are defending the Twilight Domain with all their might. So why am I hesitating here? Have I not put in enough effort? That isn't it either. I always took the minimum compensation and provided the maximum benefit while receiving lifespans. And even when I took the remaining 3,000 years from my own lifespan, I had to endure hellish pain. Tearing my own lifespan apart was excruciating and a form of extreme suffering. Then why? Why am I hesitating at the last moment? Who? I take a deep breath. Then, without further hesitation, I begin the ritual to compress the longevity axis. Now, all that remains is to announce to the nether ghost realm that I have completed the longevity axis. There is no more time to waste. At the 12 directions surrounding the longevity axis, ghost fire blazes blue. The earth axis ritual begins now. Wu-wung. I raise my hand to take the first step towards truly rising to the earth axis stage. Earth axis. Why must the first stage of the middle boundary be the earth axis stage rather than the 4-axis stage? Earth axis signifies the axis of a star. The north and south of a star. End to end. The center that connects pole Chinese letter to pole Chinese letter. That is the earth axis. So what else would you call this stage, which accumulates the attraction force that connects people to people and the world to me, if not the earth axis? No, did I name it based on such logic? Thinking back, it wasn't that I conceptualized it logically and decided that the 4-axis stage was the earth axis stage. Suddenly, a name was engraved in my mind. It is right to call this realm the earth axis, was a fact so clearly imprinted in my mind that I started calling it the earth axis stage and only later attached such logic to it. Just what is this? I don't fully understand, but I proceed with the earth axis ritual anyway. It's similar to the 7 stars ritual. But unlike the 7 stars ritual, there's no need to conduct the ritual toward the heavens. It's enough to perform it in a place where the dragon vein flows smoothly. Using the longevity axis as the center, I need to sequentially infuse the energies symbolizing the 12 hours Chinese letter of the nether ghost realm into it. It's then I suddenly look at the ceiling of the basement. Above, the sky begins to swirl with ominous energy. What heavenly rejection? No, this is. Jian Myohun became a storm. It's as if thunderclouds are densely gathering around him, scattering countless bolts of lightning rain in all directions. The ghostly creatures with high cultivation scream and retreat, and the devotees corrupted by the true persons also recoil in fear from Jian Myohun's lightning spear, which is no different from a heavenly tribulation. Chijijijik. Jian Myohun dominates the battlefield with his lightning spear. At this moment, he is the king of this place. Quajijijijik. Red lightning swirls. It sweeps in all directions. It storms like a tempest. It pierces like an awl. It burns like fire. Every time Jian Myohun moves his 6 arms, the battlefield seems to fry in a sea of red lightning. Quajijijijik. However, Jian Myohun's expression gradually worsens. I'm slowly reaching my limit. The red lightning he is emitting from his entire body is in essence a transformed heavenly tribulation. He is using the heavenly tribulation to fight his enemies, and this heavenly tribulation is becoming stronger as it is judged that Jian Myohun is receiving external assistance. Since the heavenly tribulation is both an elixir and a dharma treasure for Jian Myohun, it doesn't matter if it grows stronger to some extent. However, he can feel it. The heavenly tribulation in his hand is becoming heavier and thicker, and it's becoming so hot that it's increasingly difficult for Jian Myohun to handle. I can't keep this up. Eventually, the heavenly tribulation will become so out of control, even Jian Myohun won't be able to handle it, turning on him instead. Of course, Jian Myohun won't be harmed by the heavenly tribulation, but if it grows that strong, absorbing it could cause his dantian to explode. Quarrung. He sounds thunder while breaking into a cold sweat internally. Damn it, hold on a bit longer, Jian Myung-hoon. He pushes himself harder, dancing while wielding the heavenly tribulation. But the heavenly tribulation in his hand grows hotter, and Jian Myung-hoon finally gives up trying to control it. Kwajijijik. The heavenly tribulation in Jian Myung-hoon's hand flashes a brilliant light and slips from his grasp. Then the heavenly tribulation begins to engulf Jian Myung-hoon and enter his body. His lifespan, cultivation, everything begins to surge wildly. Quarvirurung. Gruea. Jian Myung-hoon's body grows even larger. And at that moment, Quarvirurung. Jian Myung-hoon's body becomes the thundercloud itself. As the giant figure made entirely of thunderclouds roar, the entire vicinity rumbles with a deafening crackle. Quarvirurung. Then something like a translucent barrier forms around Jian Myung-hoon and spreads outwards. The barrier expanded rapidly, eventually covering the entire Twilight domain. The Ghost Kings of the four major factions see this and laugh drily. How insane! How is this possible, reaching the integration stage in the middle of battle? Jian Myung-hoon finally completes the process of heaven and earth unity and enters the integration stage. Come at me, all of you. As I've reached the stage, I will devour you all. Kagagugu. Jian Myung-hoon's voice echoes from within his domain, spreading in all directions. Tension rises in the eyes of those watching him. He already possessed formidable strength at the four-axis stage. How strong will he be now that he's reached integration? As expected of the chief law protector of the devilish cult. But contrary to their concerns, Jian Myung-hoon is filled with tension. I've reached the integration stage, but my power is far weaker than when I faced the heavenly tribulation. His strongest moment is when he faces the breakthrough heavenly tribulation. Rather, the moment he succeeds in breakthroughs in cultivation is far weaker than when he is in the process of breaking through. Will bluffing work? Then it happens. The 96 Ghost Kings who have been attacking Jian Myung-hoon and the Twilight Domain retreat. A look of hope crosses Jian Myung-hoon's eyes. Did it work? And then, an urgent voice comes from Seo Yun-hyan, who is supposed to be in closed-door cultivation. Jian Myung-hoon, be careful. They're planning something crazy. What? Then, thud, 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 thud. The 7 devotees who have been attacking with the integration stage Ghost Kings advance even further towards the Twilight Domain as the Ghost Kings retreat. Sending the corrupted bodies forward means they're planning to draw on the true person's power. This is madness. Kagagugu. The 7 devotees each shake their many heads and stretch their hands and limbs toward the sky. Then light descends from the sky, as if connecting the devotees with the true persons. I have to block. Kurung kurururung. But before Jian Myung-hoon can act, thunderclouds once again gather in the sky, blocking the sight of the true persons. The devotees trying to draw power from the true persons are disconnected from them. Jian Myung-hoon sees this and smiles with relief. You're late, you snail-like bastard. Sorry about that. Kagagugu. A ghost king with 19 heads flies to the side of the giant thundercloud figure. The thundercloud figure forms a hand seal and points to the sky. As Seo Yun-hyan finishes building the longevity axis, the thunderclouds that have been writhing as if ready to drop heavenly tribulation at any moment are unable to do so. I've delayed the heavenly tribulation a bit with my power. It should give us some breathing room. Anyway, Seo Yun-hyan, is it done? It's done now. We just need to open the side path. Jian Myung-hoon sighs lightly. Currently, Seo Yun-hyan has built 2 of the 5 blessings axes. And according to Yon Wei, 3 of the 5 blessings axes are needed to open the shortcut. Of course, with the 2 axes Seo Yun-hyan has built, if Jian Myung-hoon, who has reached the integration stage, combines his power, it could count as having 3 axes and they could open the side path. But the problem is that if Jian Myung-hoon focuses on opening the side path with Seo Yun-hyan, there will inevitably be a gap in their defenses. Without you or me, can they hold on without us? At Jian Myung-hoon's question, Seo Yun-hyan looks back. The followers of the Twilight Domain who have followed him have come out, looking up at Seo Yun-hyan, who has completed his closed-door cultivation. including Jian Myohoon, the other colleagues, the guardian ghost kings, and Yuhai who had come as a guest. All his connections are looking at him. Xiao Yunhayan smiles. Don't worry. Wu Weng. Traction force begins to emanate from within him. Jian Myohoon is startled by the sight. Didn't you say you had only 2 axes? Did you deceive me? HM, I didn't deceive you. I clearly explained last time that if you lowered your realm and converted through the vast cold heavenly circle formula, it would count as accumulating an additional axis. You just didn't listen, did you? Xiao Yunhayan clicks his tongue and chuckles, while Jian Myohoon becomes even more exasperated. Damn it, if you had something that good, you should have forced me to learn it. Who was the one holding Sohei's hand saying, I must reach the next stage quickly, and not listening. Anyway, I can open the side path on my own. With a look that seems to say, trust me, from his 38 eyes, Xiao Yunhayan nods at Jian Myohoon. So I'll leave the protection of the order to you, Jian Myohoon. Got it, cult leader. Xiao Yunhayan flies towards the direction of the Wuji religious order and begins forming hand seals. Now then, let's open the side path. And then, Kagagugu. The dark clouds in the sky, temporarily sealed by Jian Myohoon and holding the heavenly tribulation. That symbol of heavenly tribulation begins to disperse. What? The next moment, Jiang, a colossal will, begins to descend upon the earth. In the names of the true persons, we decree that all heavenly punishments occurring in the nether ghost realm at this moment be postponed by 1 year. Clouds descending heavenly tribulations, disperse. Jiang, the will of the true persons resonate throughout the battlefield. The dark clouds created by Xiao Yunhayan upon his breakthrough dissipate effortlessly, and the will of the true persons descend upon the earth once again. Kagagugu. Starlight falls from the heavens onto the 7 devotees. Kuea, Gaia, Guyuea. The devotees all scream in agony. Among those anxiously watching the battlefield behind Xiao Yunhayan, Yuhai's eyes waver momentarily as she looks at them. W8 Cha Jogwinem. She cries out, seeing one devotee in pain, receiving the light of the true persons. Cha Jogwinem, why are you there, Cha Jogwinem? However, the devotee transformed from Cha Jogwai seems unable to hear her words. He merely mutters as he accepts the light from the heavens. I will save, definitely save. The 96 integration stage ghost kings behind the 7 devotees, each in groups of 12, begin forming hand seals. Wung Wung Wuveng. The integration stage ghost kings deploy their domain. Their domains, no different from dimensional barriers, buzz and rise as pillars towards the sky. These pillars meet the edge of the light, falling on the 7 devotees. Towards the sky, the ghost kings project their attraction force. Finally, a crack appears in the sky. These others Yuzuk. On the surface, it seems like nothing significant has changed. The dark sky of the nether ghost realm still holds stars, and the stars continue to gaze down upon the earth. The only change is a transparent crack in the sky. However, through that crack, power from above begins to pour down. With an incomprehensible cry, the 7 devotees simultaneously point their fingers towards the twilight domain. The next moment, Kagagugu. An irresistible weight descends upon the entire twilight domain. Quang, Quajijijik. The domain unfolded by the 6 extremes ghost king, Jian Myohoon, is utterly shattered. Although Jian Myohoon does not die, he is left prostrated on the ground, unable to even make breathing sounds. Xiao Yunhayan, who is trying to open a side path above the Wuji religious order, is also slammed to the ground. Ku Uwug. While Xiao Yunhayan doesn't end up prostrated like Jian Myohoon, he too is pinned to the ground, unable to do anything. Moreover, the attraction force is even growing stronger. Clatter, 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 clatter. The cursed dolls, the physical bodies of the twilight domain's ghostly creatures, begin to emit white steam as they start to break apart. The true persons are trying to annihilate the Wuji religious order. This is insane. The pressure is enormous. At this rate, not only the Wuji religious order, but the entire twilight domain will be crushed into dust. Kagagugaguk. Enduring the pressure falling upon me, I try to channel all the attraction force I gathered to open the side path to shield the twilight domain from the descending power. This eases the pressure on the followers and Jian Myohoon significantly, but it increases the area of pressure on me, making it feel like my entire body is about to burst. Don't joke with me. Without the energy to even use mental speech, I shout out loud with my voice. The pressure that seems to intend to crush me here, without giving me a chance to open the side path. Previously, there seemed to be two options: drive me out or annihilate me. But in reality, it's clear their primary intent is to annihilate me. However frustrating it is, I have no power to stop this. I can sense it. This colossal, cosmic power is being exerted by the true persons while in a wounded state. And it isn't even their direct power, but merely an indirect force channeled through the devotees. They seem to fear seeing the inverted cone from me again if they use their power directly. However, even with that faint indirect power, we are on the verge of dying. In frustration, I shout toward the heavens. True persons above, what wrong have we done? But no answer comes. Yet somehow, I feel like I understand. Insects. To them, we are no different from insects. They probably didn't feel the need to explain anything to insects. Yes, the reason for their actions is clear. It isn't because they find me disgusting or are angry about me showing them the inverted cone. They simply feel that the being they mistakenly perceive to be behind me is disrespecting and opposing them, and thus, they are venting anger out on what they consider as that existence is upon me. Ridiculous. Such an entity does not even exist. How many times have I been mocked and ridiculed in this manner? It's infuriating and unfair, but there's nothing I can do. Merely, I can only be gradually crushed by the force of the true persons. This time as well, am I going to die at the hands of colossal beings? I can tell. Being crushed to death by the will of the true persons is the conclusion of this cycle. There is no other outcome. I see this is our end. I close my eyes and accept death. If I am to die like this, I begin to deconstruct the longevity axis I have just successfully built. Let me return it. Over the years, as the Wuji Ghost King, I have lent power to the beings of the lower realms and received lifespan in return. Through those lifespans, I can sense the attraction force that connects me to them. I will return them. Through the attraction force, I tear apart my axis and return them. From the void spirit pond, countless rays of light pour out. The lifespans used in my longevity axis are returning to their original owners. Since I'm going to die anyway, I decide to do what little I can. What isn't mine in the first place should be returned. And at that very moment, I hear a sound as if someone is whispering in my ear. Isn't it a waste? Regardless of everything, it was a fair trade. In the end, you expended time and effort and gained nothing. Isn't that meaningless? Is it my heart demon? Or perhaps my lingering desire? It doesn't matter. The answer is already determined. There was nothing from the start. After all, life is just a series of failures and emptiness. It's merely adding a tiny speck of meaninglessness to the mountain of countless failures and futility. If I came with nothing, I should leave with nothing. I decide to feed the last of my strength to the extinguishing, divine, tribulating heavens technique. But at that moment, remarkable, I feel the voice I thought was my heart demon or lingering desire laughing. Chills. What's this? The next moment, I scream in pain from the sudden excruciating agony coming from my chest. Huaya. It hurts. It hurts so much. Someone is tearing my lifespan apart. As I rose to the 4-axis stage, I received a lifespan of 10,000 years from the heavens. Of that, I used 3,000 years to construct my longevity axis, leaving me with about 10,000 years of lifespan, including what I had gained during the minor boundary. But someone is tearing apart my remaining lifespan. In an instant, 7,000 years of my lifespan are torn away. Although I have experienced the pain of tearing flesh many times, this pain of brutally tearing away lifespan is an unbearable agony I could never get used to. I can't stay conscious against the overwhelming pain surging from the depths of my soul. But then someone applies the lifespan they tore from me to the longevity axis left with 3,000 years. Wu Wang. The longevity axis, which was left with only 30% due to returning lifespan to those connected to me in the lower realms, is once again completed to 100%. At that moment, I feel as if I understand something. Mortal cultivation is about taking. Take from the devilish path, take from the righteous path, take from the demons, and take from your enemies to elevate yourself. That is immortal cultivation. Take away anything that stands in the way of your will, no matter who or what it is. Even if it's an evil ghost, an enemy, or even a comrade. Even if it's a betrothed with whom a 1,000-year union has been promised, taking it to complete yourself is the true meaning of immortal cultivation. Why did I hesitate before building the longevity axis? Why did I dislike the process of building it? Yes, it's probably because the method of constructing the 5 blessings axes is close to the devilish path, which involves plundering from others. But now, with my pure lifespan alone constructing the axis, I understand why a stumbling block remains in my heart. I look at the illusion of Yon Wei before me. No, it's the illusion of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect that had taught Yon Wei. In other words, the illusion of Yang Sujin. How can I elevate myself by taking from others? I can only elevate myself through my own means. Immortal cultivation is comprehension, Chinese letter. It is only by reflecting on oneself, realizing oneself, and overcoming oneself that one is completed. That is immortal cultivation. How can something taken from others become mine? And then the voice laughs. Yes, it's exactly that. Even as my entire body is being crushed by the true persons, I bow my head to the voice, with a deep sense of gratitude. I don't know who you are, but thank you for the profound enlightenment. Do you not know me? What? What does that mean? I make a puzzled expression to the feeling that the voice somehow knows me. Did you not call upon me many times? What does that? But hearing the words of the voice, the next moment my mind goes blank. Immortal cultivation is comprehension. Wu Wang. The words I have just uttered. I thought it was simply my thoughts organized, but I am mistaken. This is the formula already within me. Like tiny grains of salt gathering to form the sea. It's the same as when I learned the name of the Earth axis stage earlier. Oh, I see. It isn't something I realized through enlightenment. I have already known this through this formula. Build mountains through comprehension. As if mesmerized, I reach out towards the illusion of the inverted cone before me. Building a mountain of salt is perhaps the fastest way to reach the heavens. All this time, I have only been using the filtered information provided by COHREAL. But now I realize that I can read the original method of this technique. The owner of the formula has granted me permission. A pure white aura begins to form like grains around me. I stand up. The true persons are crushing my body from above, but it's useless. I now understand the true cultivation method of the Earth axis stage. First, make contracts with countless lower realm living beings and provide services after receiving their payment. Then, in the end, sacrifice your own lifespan to build the axis instead of the lifespan received from the living beings and return the payment back to them. Yes, you are returning the blessings you received. The 6 extremes is not something that exists, but rather refers to the absence of blessing. Within this emptiness of vanished blessings, feeling the 6 extremes and comprehending both the 5 blessings and 6 extremes is the essence of the Earth axis stage. I laugh as I watch the white, grain-like aura swirling around me. Previously, using this technique would cause my arms or the extremities of my body to turn to salt uncontrollably, but not anymore. Now I can control it perfectly. I think I understand. Just what was Hun Wan thinking, using this method in reverse. The name of this method is not the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. It's not some reverse heaven method that tears a single type of energy into 7 pieces. It's actually the exact opposite, combining 7 types of energy into one. Yin-yang, the energy of yin-yang, and 5 elements combine into one between my hands. An inverted cone, no, a divine power that forms a mountain. That is the true effect of this strange technique, mistakenly called the Great Mountain-Splitting Emperor Technique. Chua. I gather the energy in my hands and shoot it towards the sky, causing it to explode. What emerges is a colossal, inverted cone-shaped mountain that fills the sky, incomparable to the vague display shown before with the Great Mountain-Splitting Emperor Technique. The brilliant white light sweeps across heaven and earth. The bodies of the devotees caught in that light start to melt into salt. And from within that salt, the true forms of the devotees begin to emerge. The power of the true persons that possess the devotees is being withdrawn. Furthermore, this divine power's effect is not yet finished. Kagagagugu. Heaven and earth tremble. No, the entire nether ghost realm shakes madly. The reaction is on a completely different scale compared to when I showed the inverted cone to the true persons before. To compare, the previous incident is like an adult accidentally getting punched in the solar plexus by a 3-foot-tall child. This time, it's like the adult getting stabbed by a large knife by the child. I can feel that the true persons have, properly, suffered serious injuries upon seeing the shape of the salt mountain. My power is that of an insect compared to the true persons, but the being beyond this salt mountain is not. The pressure weighing down the twilight domain vanishes. What remains are the true persons outside the nether ghost realm's dimensional boundary, writhing in pain as if they have truly gone mad. I can feel their genuine agony and convulsions. I smile as I look up at the sky. Pazazazasa. Having shed the form of the ghost king with 19 heads, I reach out with the axes built solely with my own strength and lifespan. 2 orthodox axes, and another axis equivalent with the vast cold heavenly circle, intertwine and tear open the void. Normally, the side path can only be opened with the special secret arts of the Black Ghost Palace and the Nether Crossing Ship, but now it opens by my hand. Wu-wung. The side path widens and widens until it covers the entire twilight domain. After opening the side path, I look back. On the opposite side, the integration stage cultivators from the 4 great factions are staring at me with bewildered expressions. Between us in the middle, the devotees freed from the true persons are expressing their gratitude for regaining their lives, and Yuhai is crying in the arms of Cha Jogwai. I withdraw the beams of light that are lethal to those at the entering nirvana stage but harmless to those below, and I bow my head one last time to the nether ghost realm itself. It's a gesture of gratitude for the connections I have built in the nether ghost realm and for this world itself. Well then, farewell. Kagagugugu. Now it's time to return to the long-missed bright cold realm. Thus, the twilight domain enters the side path, leaving the nether ghost realm behind. Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain. The Palace of Light at the center of the heavenly domain. Inside, 8 colossal beings are exuding palpable signs of confusion. The great mountain supreme deity is suddenly going berserk in the earth axis heavenly domain. What kind of absurd power is this? The heavenly domain we've barely confined is shaking. At this rate, the mountain god we barely imprisoned will break free again. We must quickly create a special confinement heavenly domain specifically for the mountain god, just like we did for the god of heavenly punishment. It's unsettling to leave them confined in their own heavenly domain like this. Just what is happening all of a sudden? Why is that being having a fit? U0026NBSB. It's difficult to know as they seem insane. For now, some of us will need to personally go and reinforce the heavenly domain securely. If we don't, that being will break the barrier of light and emerge again. A monstrous being indeed, worthy of being called the supreme deity equal to a heavenly venerable. Naturally, though they have fallen, they were once a noble being. The 8 figures exchanging opinion soon come to a decision. Given this severe situation concerning a governing immortal, everyone should move. Glory to the radiant supreme deity. The figures disappear suddenly to somewhere. In the hall, only the seat of light is left floating alone. Ancient Force Realm. The main base of the Bukhyang fleet. Inside, a woman in white is caressing a Jade Norgi. She looks at the ghost lying in front of her with a bitter expression. Elder Song, are you leaving now? The ghost laughs heartily. It seems it's finally time for this old man to go. It has been truly enjoyable. Elder, surely there must be another way. What other way? I've lived long enough. Unless a basket of pure ghostly energy from the nether ghost realm's mainland falls from the sky, I'll be leaving soon. The old ghost holds the hand of the woman in white with a peaceful expression. When I'm gone, please take good care of my disciple. It's at that moment. Wu-wung. The jade norgi in the woman's hand begins to vibrate wildly, emitting a strange heat. Why is this happening? The heat emitted by the norigi gradually intensifies. And then suddenly, quailing, the woman in white and the old ghost hear a massive explosion reverberate throughout the entire world. Kagagugu. After the explosion, the norigi's temperature neither rises nor falls, remaining constant, and a vibration echoes throughout the entire world. The old ghost speaks in alarm. T8, the celestial energy is shaking. Could it be? He gasps and continues. Some being from another world has entered the ancient force realm. // Discord https://dsc/gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 356, Ancient Force Realm, Chinese letter. Translator, translating novice. Editors, Z0 Rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chuea. The Twilight Domain, a land of ghostly creatures, traverses a monochromatic side path. It seems there are no problems. The side path originally serves as a route through the deep outskirts of the netherworld. To use this side path, one must either have learned the ghost path method or possess a dream body created using the power of the nether crossing ship. However, the Wuji religious order situated in Twilight Domain is a cult of ghostly creatures. From the start, there was no problem in using the side path. Guo. The monochromatic side path is quiet. The followers keep their mouths shut as expected due to the death aura emanating from the side path. However, even with their mouths closed, I can feel it. Everyone is immensely excited. Though the sound is almost non-existent and silent, I can see it. Various colors are wildly bouncing within the world of intent. All the followers of the religious order. They are all feeling immense loyalty towards me and an overwhelming sense of belonging to the Wuji religious order. Is it because they witnessed with their own eyes as I drove out the entering nirvana stage true persons? Even when I appear in the form of the human Seo Yun Hyan from the 19-headed Ghost King, no one shows fear or dread towards me. Their loyalty and fervor have surpassed the fear my appearance induces. Thank you all for following me thus far. With a grateful heart towards the followers, I, along with Jian Myonghun, guide the Twilight Domain to the bright cold realm. Hey Jian Myonghun. It's then. What? Currently, the Twilight Domain is being navigated by me, the one who opened the side path. And it's Jian Myonghun, possessing the attraction force of the integration stage, who is controlling it. While I maintain the side path, Jian Myonghun pinpoints the coordinates of the bright cold realm and pulls the Twilight Domain using his attraction force. However, I feel something strange. Are you driving properly? Of course, we're heading straight to the bright cold realm. I've locked the old site of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect as our coordinates, so that's where we'll emerge. What do you take me for? An inconsiderate bastard who hands over the driving to someone who stayed up all night because he couldn't drive. Haha, did you say this is the side path? The scenery is quite nice. Clicking my tongue, I grab his shoulder. No, I'm seriously asking. Are you really pulling us to the bright cold realm? Something feels off. What feels off? I frown at the strange discomfort. Indeed, Jian Myonghun is pulling us towards the coordinates of the old site of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect that he remembers. Given that it's an unforgettable coordinate for him, there's no worry about it being wrong. But strangely, even though we are heading towards the correct coordinates, it feels like we are heading down the wrong path. Why? The direction is right, but it feels like we're taking another route. I repeatedly confirm Jian Myonghun's attraction force to ensure we are on the right track. Jian Myonghun's attraction force is definitely connected to the old site of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the bright cold realm. This is strange. We're going the right way, yet it's wrong. It's a truly odd feeling, but it's the reality I feel. It's then. Wu-weng. I suddenly feel the colorless glass sword heating up within me. What's this? The colorless glass sword is resonating. Stop crying, colorless glass sword. I try to quell the vibrating colorless glass sword by taking it out of my mouth, but the sword remains unyielding. The sword continues to vibrate, emitting a faint light. This light. I'm startled as I look at the light. This light is undoubtedly from the reversed method of the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. The salt light I had just used to drive away the true persons. Did using this method somehow affect the colorless glass sword? It's when I'm looking at the colorless glass sword, emitting a grain-like white light. Weeyang. I realize that the mist from the canvas of myriad forms and connections embedded in the colorless glass sword is also vibrating. No, just what is this? I'm flustered. Wait, Jian Myohun, where are you driving? What? I'm driving just fine. Damn it, we're heading down a strange path. What are you talking about? Can't you see I'm heading to where the attraction force is fixed to? No, damn it. Jian Myohun, as if going crazy, suddenly veers off the straight path and starts heading in a strange direction. I'm terrified, but Jian Myohun looks at me with confused eyes. How is this straight? We were just there, but where are we heading now? I mean, we can't see front or back in here. I'm just following the attraction force. Damn it. Jian Myohun's understanding of death is not as deep as mine, so he can't see the side path clearly, but it's vividly clear to me. This guy suddenly turned in a strange direction. It's fine, I'll set the direction, so just follow me. Well, for now, Fi. Kagagugu. Right at that moment. What? Suddenly, the colorless glass sword starts vibrating like crazy. At the same time, the slowly advancing twilight domain begins to be pulled forward, as if crazy. Damn it, what's happening? I don't know. Thinking that something terrible will happen if we continue like this, I try to sever the attraction force somehow. Jian Myohun follows my instructions and envelops the twilight domain in his own domain. I can feel it. Something is pulling us. See, could it be an entering Nirvana true person? It's possible. One of the enraged true persons might have come to the side path to devour us. With a tense face, I draw upon the energy of the great mountain-splitting emperor technique once more. Just then, up ahead, a dimensional barrier appears. If we continue like this, the twilight domain will crash into the dimensional barrier and shatter. Woven. I cover the front of the twilight domain with the all-heavens sword. Pierce through. In the next moment, quang, the force of the twilight domain, the sharpness of the all-heavens sword, and the speed at which we are being rapidly pulled by the attraction force combines, creating an enormous bomb-like rumble that envelops the vicinity. The twilight domain is dragged straight into this suspicious dimension. Ancient Forest Realm. Sacred Orchid Island, Waterflow Domain. Located in the middle of a vast ocean, Sacred Orchid Island is a thriving place. It's one of the trade cities where exchanges frequently take place with various other islands, and it's also rich in spirit veins, preventing major conflicts. Yuk-Yo, a koi silk carp demon beast and resident of Sacred Orchid Island, wakes up inside her territory. The ascending ridge falls, shakes her body once, and then jumps into the waterfall, swimming up against the current to the sky. Kagagugu. As soon as she ascends the waterfall, Yuk-Yo transforms into a divine blue dragon. Although she hasn't actually become a member of the dragon race, she uses her unique divine power to transform similarly. Ah, what a pleasant day again. Shall I find a fool to scam joyfully today as well? Though she is still at the early nascent soul stage, Yuk-Yo flies to the harbor of Sacred Orchid Island with an unbothered expression. When she arrives at the harbor, she hears clicking tongues all around. That swindler's starting her activities again. Instead of diligently cultivating to become a real dragon, she's going around using her cheap transformation technique to scam people. Only the victims suffer, tesk. Despite the murmurs all around her, Yuk-Yo doesn't care. In her dragon form, she performs transformation. Her upper body remains a dragon, while her lower body turns human, resulting in a half-transformation. However, this appearance exudes considerable dignity, making it look rather convincing from the outside. U0026 NBSB. While wandering around the harbor, she notices a newly arrived ship and heads towards it with a gleam in her eyes. Several demon beasts are unloading goods from the ship, and others, seemingly from another island, are looking around. Yuk-Yo approaches one of the demon beasts who appears confused and is at the heavenly being stage. That demon beast, fully transformed into human form, seems to be nervously biting his lip as if it's his first time on Sacred Orchid Island. Haha, hello, fellow cultivator. Is this your first time on Sacred Orchid Island? Ah, that's right, fellow cultivator. I came to attend the auction being held on Sacred Orchid Island. Ah, you mean the Sacred Orchid Trading Fair. The Sacred Orchid Trading Fair is in 5 days, but how about exploring Sacred Orchid Island until then? As a local, let me show you around. Oh, there's no need for a noble dragon to go through such trouble. Haha, it's nothing. I've always enjoyed making friends from outside the island. I'd appreciate it if you could give me the opportunity. Haha, if the noble dragon insists so much. The demon beast cultivator seems persuaded by Yuk Yo's dignified dragon face and starts following her. Yuk Yo quickly becomes friends with the heavenly being cultivator, using her unique charm and eloquence. Is this really true? As expected of Yuk Nunam, to subdue a 4-axis stage monster with a single command. TL note, Nunam is basically Hyung Nim but referring to an older woman. That one wasn't much. The truly scary one was an integration stage Demon King. The strike from the integration Demon King was truly formidable. Surviving its ultimate move is what brought my cultivation down to this level. My goodness, to survive after an encounter with a Demon King, as expected of Yuk Nunam, I respect you. Yuk Yo continues to boast incessantly while conversing with him, and at some point, she takes out a small piece of paper from her storage scroll. So, little brother, I've been planning on starting a business soon. If I start one under my name, it will be hugely profitable. So, little brother, could you lend me 10 ancient stones? I'll return them 100-fold. No way, really. If it's for you, Yuk Nunam, I can sell everything I have and give you 100 ancient stones. Ohiat, even amongst close siblings, one should not casually trade money. If our friendship is strained, it would be heart-wrenching. Just 10 will do. Ohiat is basically a sound of disapproval. As expected of a noble dragon race, Yuk Nunam. Yuk Yo pockets 10 shining stones, handed to her by the seemingly touched demon beast cultivator. Come to think of it, I left something behind at the other harbor. Please wait here for a moment, younger brother. I'll go fetch my belongings. Yes, Nunam. Yuk Yo disappears somewhere, leaving the demon beast cultivator waiting with an excited expression. However, Yuk Yo does not return. That's strange. Why isn't Nunam coming back? It's then. Hey, young man, are you waiting for a noble-looking dragon race member? Yes, I am. Tusk, you've been scammed. What? That bastard is notorious around here. She transforms into the dragon race to scam newcomers to Sacred Orchid Island. She's very elusive, making her hard to catch. Just think of it as bad luck. And no, what do you mean? Yuk Nunam was originally a grand perfection 4-axis stage cultivator, a quasi-demon king on the verge of reaching the integration stage. Why would she scam someone at the heavenly being stage like me? Tusk, this friend, that scammer, isn't even at the 4-axis stage. She's a nascent soul stage demon beast. She can't even perform transformation properly and is just an early nascent soul cultivator. Poor fellow Tusk. The passerby pats his shoulder, and, while pretending to comfort him, slyly steals the storage scroll from the heavenly being stage cultivator's waist and walks away. The demon beast cultivator stands there blankly. It's only much later that he realizes his storage scroll has been stolen, and he roars in rage. Huaya. Kurung. Another harbor on Sacred Orchid Island. Yuk Yo watches from afar as the heavenly being stage cultivator roars in anger, causing a storm, and chuckles. Welcome to the island of thieves, kid. Walking around with such a dumb face, you were bound to get scammed by this elder. Haha. So, what should I buy with these ancient stones today? Yuk Yo laughs, staring at the 10 stones in her hand. The transformation technique she learned, the dragon form disguise method, has some side effects, but allows her to transform almost perfectly into any dragon race member she has seen once. She has used this technique multiple times to scam people on Sacred Orchid Island, and has succeeded once again today. While she is reveling in her success. Kurung. The sky suddenly starts to darken. What's this? Is someone advancing? Yuk Yo looks up at the sky with a puzzled expression. The sky is darkening as storm clouds gather. No, this feels like. Seeing the heaven and earth spiritual energy fluctuating unstably, Yuk Yo breaks into a cold sweat. The heaven and earth spiritual energy is conveying a strong sense of foreboding. Isn't the yin energy becoming too strong? The balance of yin and yang is breaking, and the previously smooth-flowing heaven and earth spiritual energy is rapidly shifting towards yin. And then, quang! With an enormous explosion, the sky shatters like porcelain. What? She freezes in shock. And in the next moment, Kiyaea, Kiyaea, Kiyak. Overwhelming ghostly wails echo throughout the entire ocean as countless ghosts start emerging from the crack. Kirururung. Thunder rumbles as a monster with 6 arms crawls out of the fissure. The giant god emerges from the crack, howling in a strange language. Then 6 shadows beneath the giant summons black lightning, forcibly widening the crack. The giant god hurls the black lightning into the crack like a hook and starts pulling something out from within. Quaying. The next moment, Kagagugu. A massive chunk of land large enough to cover Sacred Orchid Island bursts out from the crack. U0026 NBSB. Oh, Uea. Kiyoea. A dreadful ghostly wail fills the surroundings. Yukyo looks up at the sky. On top of that massive chunk of land stands countless ominous buildings exuding dreadful yin energy, and between the buildings, grotesque cursed dolls kneel and pray towards the sky. What is that? While Yukyo's mind is blank. Dujajujudo. All the residents of Sacred Orchid Island, sensing the crisis, transform into their true forms and start fleeing. Seeing them, Yukyo finally snaps back to reality. Alright, damn it, this isn't the time to be like this. I need to get off this island quickly. She turns pale, releasing her transformation and tries to flee, but her speed is slower than even the core formation cultivators. Damn it, I can't move fast because of the dragon form disguise method. The dragon form disguise method she learned allows her, a coy demon beast, to disguise herself as a noble member of the dragon race, but it has the drawback of reducing both her speed and physical strength. Of course, being a divine ability with such a cost, it allows her to imitate the aura of the dragon race almost perfectly. However, damn it, release. It takes a considerable amount of time to undo the dragon form disguise method. She has to sit still and concentrate for at least the time it takes to drink 1 cup of tea to release the disguise. Yukyo tries her best to undo the disguise while running away. But just then, Yukyo feels a prick on the back of her head and looks back, feeling like her breath will stop. Standing at the center of the demon ghosts, the 6-armed giant is staring directly at her. Chiag. The giant extends an arm towards her. At the same time, Yukyo feels a massive force pulling her in. Aya. Yukyo screams and struggles, but she fails to escape and is eventually caught by the giant's hand. Bring it here. I speak, sitting in front of the Wuji religious hall, gazing at the endlessly spread sea. Thud 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 thud. Jian Myohoon, in his giant god form, drags a demon beast that appears to be of the dragon race before me. I have captured it, cult leader. I look down at the demon beast before me with cold eyes. The demon beast is shouting noisily in the language of the demon race, but the ghostly creatures of the nether ghost realm have their own language, so shouting in demon race language is useless. I speak to the demon beast in the demon race language. Calm down, I won't eat you. First explain where we are. The creature trembles and speaks. This is Sacred Orchid Island in the Waterflow Domain, Senior. Please spare me. As you can see from my aura, I'm just a weak core formation cultivator. Water flow region, where is that? Is it in the stable realm or the chaos realm? Pardon, of course it's in the stable realm. Since it's a place where demon beasts abound, it must be in the Earth Tribe territory. How far is the true Dragon Alliance from here? But the demon beast responds with confusion. True Dragon Alliance, what does Senior mean by that? Where is that? I realize something is wrong from the demon beast's reaction. As expected, did Jian Myohoon mess up the driving? It seems we have not landed in the bright cold realm. What's the name of this world? We just crossed over from the nether ghost realm, so we don't know much. Explain it to us. At the mention of coming from the nether ghost realm, the demon beast begins to tremble and speak. This is the ancient force realm, my lord. But why have beings from the nether ghost realm come here? You insolent thing, how dare you question without the permission of the cult leader? Beak Rin, who recently joined as a guardian ghost king, shouts furiously from beside the demon beast. Although he can't speak the demon race language, he seems to understand from the tone that the creature was asking a question. The demon beast, seeing the shouting Beak Rin left only with white bones, looks like it's about to faint and starts gasping for breath. Hong Fan, standing next to me, translates the nether ghost realm language for the demon beast. It means to keep your mouth shut unless asked. The demon beasts tremble and closes its mouth. I sigh. Damn it, we've really landed in the ancient force realm. The distance between the ancient force realm and the bright cold realm alone is 1,000 years. Of course, with Jian Myung-hoon having reached the integration stage, we can return much faster with his help. However, bringing back the entire Wuji religious order will take a considerable amount of time. How did this happen? I sigh again. Chief Law Protector, call Yonwei through Yonjin. Regardless of what happened, we need the wisdom of the elderly. And you there? I question the demon beast trembling in front of me. That appearance is not your true form, is it? Yes, yes, that's right, my lord. This is a demon ability I learned, which allows me to transform into the face of a dragon race member I've seen once. Oh, I see. I asked the creature with gleaming eyes. Then you must have met Seo Ran. When and where did you meet him? Tell me. This creature in front of me has a form exactly identical to Seo Ran's dragon form. Author's note: the Nether Ghost Realm part is over, and the Ancient Force Realm episode is beginning. Ham Jin and the Lower Realm episodes are planned to continue in the Ancient Force Realm as well. I plan to finish the Ancient Force episode as quickly as possible, so please wait just a little longer. And to organize the Ancient Force Realm episode, I will take a day off tomorrow. Haha. Thank you all. Translator notes, don't worry, I won't take a day off tomorrow, haha. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord.